Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis. It's the Comic Round Table. Yay! And I got all my folks with me here tonight. So we got a full table. We got a full table. So I'll introduce everybody. Closest to me, I don't know how this works for everybody else, but closest to me is John on Demand from A Comic Book Look. How's it going, sir?
Hey, everybody. Oh, dude, sorry. It froze up there for a second. That was super awkward. I didn't mean to leave you hanging. Hey, everybody.
It's all good. It's all good. And next to that, we have, of course, Sergeant America. Mike, how's it going, sir?
Boom! Here in the darkness. I guarantee you eventually I will get the lights figured out.
Okay. Okay. In his dungeon, I guess. So,
Yep.
and finally, of course, we have with us, we have Rez from Rez Reads. How's it going?
It's great. I'm feeling good.
Awesome. So, well, we're here to talk some comics. We flipped the imaginary three-sided coin. It came up indie books. We're going to talk indie books first. What do we want to talk first? What do we got a hankering for?
I'm really wanting to talk about, I don't know if you can see that. Let me unplug.
Crosswind?
Yeah, Crosswinds by Gail Simone.
Yes, ma'am. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I like that cover.
Yeah, it jumped off at me, and I was like, that's awesome coloring right there.
Yeah, Bill Sienkiewicz cover. It looks like it. Looks really artsy.
So, what do we think of Crosswind? New Gail Simone book with what's the artist's first name?
Staggs something. Something Staggs.
Staggs is her last name. Gosh darn it.
Cat Staggs.
Cat Staggs, that's correct.
Oh, I like that name.
and she's credited first in the book, which is interesting. You know, most of the time it seems like the writers get credited first, but she's credited first, both in the credits and in the copyright print of it too. So,
Oh wow.
interesting. So I think number one from Image Comics.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, it obviously is something that's been done before. Freaky Friday. We have a hitman actually trade places with a very daydreaming mom of a stepchild and a cheating husband. I mean, not the same exact premise, but we've seen it before.
I don't remember my Disney Freaky Fridays back in the 70s having a hitman and that's not the politically correct term. A young housewife as the people who body swap. So
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a little small toss up there.
yeah.
But I really did like the whole. I love the character Juniper, which is the housewife. I like Kassan or Case. He was a typical, hitman kind of guy. Like honestly, when I read his character, it reminded me so much of. I don't know if you read any Red Circle or Dark Circle comics from Archie imprint, but they had one called I want to say The Hangman, where this guy was he was a hitman, and he somehow got killed, and he had to serve under the devil for a certain amount of time, whatever, in order to ensure the safety of his family. So reading this book, Crosswinds, reminded me so much of that one character from Hangman, which I liked, but then I felt like it's been done before. But Juniper, I liked her. She obviously needed some work as far as, getting her self-esteem together. She had a husband who he talked to her like she was a dog. Like even his note to her when he was telling her to fix the dinner, telling her, I don't care, like you cut her off, like I don't care, just get dinner done. Do what do just one thing. That's all you have to do. That's your one job. I mean, his note to her was like, what do you call her, idiot or something like that? And then he called her darling in the same note. And I was like, wow, like who talks to people? I mean, do we have spouses talk to each other like that?
Dear empty head.
Empty head. Same thing, right? Empty head.
When I first read that, it was like, Dear Empty Head. I'm thinking, okay, that's, maybe it's a jokingly term of endearment. But clearly, when he's on the phone with her and stuff, he's anything but pleasant, right?
Well, that's why I thought initially because the first phone call, he cut her off, told her, no, I don't care what you have to say. Just get home and get dinner started. So then when I read the note, I immediately said, okay, this guy, he does not really care for her very much. Even though they're married, clearly, And then when that one girl, that nosy woman, walked up to her and said, "Hey," nonchalantly, like she knew she was starting shit. Like, I saw you and so and you walked right by us and didn't say hi. Oh no, you knew that was not her. You knew that was not Juniper and her husband. Like you're being messy boots, and she knew what she was doing, and and I didn't appreciate that, but I was here for it. So, but yeah, I really really liked Juniper more than Kason. I like Kason's name. And I look forward to seeing what goes on. I mean, my favorite scene in the whole comic was when Kason switched bodies with her and he's filling himself up, and then he walked out of the bathroom and he's like, the little boy, the grocery boy was like, "Are you all right, ma'am?" And he's like, F, what is he, F? He said, F, yeah, or something like that. He said something really funny. I said, wow, that's definitely a response you would get from a dude.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of how I was too. I mean, I like the Juniper character. I didn't care much about the Hitman as a whole. He seemed more stereotypical of a generic, Hitman, high class Hitman versus Juniper. I mean, I have questions. Is Juniper? I mean, she pops some pills. Is she taking those pills because everything around her's created the anxiety for her? Does she pop those because she's does drift too much and that's to kind of keep her focused? I mean, so I'm curious about those kinds of things, about her. I don't know though. I mean, doesn't this story seem kind of like it's obviously going to go, a certain way? I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
I liked aspects of it, but at the same time, it feels like, oh, okay. Clearly it's going to be a train wreck for her. Suddenly, having this body that's there and all that kind of stuff because there's a murder. She's got to deal with all this. So either she'll love it and play make believe because she's in somebody else's body, and I'm assuming everybody's going to have a rude awakening at that dinner party when the Juniper body shows up to the dinner and is not going to be taking any crap from any of those. I look forward to her. I look forward to her beating the hell out of the high school kids, the neighbors that are harassing her.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's coming. I mean, like, honestly, all that you just said, I initially saw that coming as soon as they switched bodies. I'm not like, again, I'm here for it.
John, what did you think of it?
So, right on the money with the characters. I mean, the main thing, ironically, normally I read for characters, but in this case, I mean, this isn't Marvel or DC, right? So I haven't known these dudes for 10 years. But The one thing that really popped about this book for me was the art, and I was just flipping through it just now again to reconfirm. I always have the circle up on myself, but how this artist depicts winter is so cool. Like, it's blurry, it's sparkly, it's glamorous, it's fun. And then we flipped the tone, and there was a full-page spread of the gloomy street, basically, a little bit in there, and that page popped out to me as well. Finally, that cityscape, you guys, about halfway through, I just thought that was fantastic. So I don't know, I don't know what it is about it, but it's like blurry but fun. There was also a headshot in the earlier part of the book in the winter part where blood looks artsy, and I'm like, that's awesome. So I don't know, maybe I've been watching too much Strain on Hulu or something. I don't know. But to me, I was like, oh, that's the most glamorous headshot I've ever seen. That could be in a museum. But it was cool. I enjoyed it all in all. I'm glad I gave it a whirl. And I love my little rainbow cover. I'm assuming this is part of the Pride covers that Image is doing. Yay.
Well, yeah, I guess it would be, yeah. But it's also basically like that. It's also basically like isn't it basically the page that them body swapping, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. So anyways, yeah.
I don't know that I'm totally sold on it. People in the comments are not sold on it. Luke, Gotham City Central, basically said he sees where Crossroads is going. And it's like Trading Places rerun all over again. I think the wife story will be good. The Hitman story, not so good. Overall, no thank you. And Brandon McHammer, he said, I generally like Gail Simone, but the plot didn't intrigue me enough to even pick it up. So there you go. We agree the art's good.
I wanted to give Gail Simone a chance after reading, what was it we were reading? What was the one we were all reading? I had stopped it after a little while.
Clean Room?
Yeah, Clean Room. After reading a few trades of Clean Room, I felt like, you know, I really didn't care for it all that much. Like there was elements in it that I really liked, but I said, let me give her a chance because I know Travis really likes her. I said, let me go ahead and see what she can do for this. You know, I mean, it wasn't the best book that I've read, but I want to see where it goes. You know.
Yeah, I mean, part of me is intrigued by the whole. You know, we get the you know, Boris Karloff eyes. That's always reminds me of the, you know, Dracula eyes about towards the end of the book with the, you know, that makes the whole body swapping thing going on. So I am curious to see what that's about. Clearly, I'll end up picking up a few issues of it just because of the way I order my books, and for me, we'll see where it goes. I mean, I didn't hate it. It just it seems somewhat right now limited on what it's really going to tell me for a story. And like Luke was saying, it just feels like you can kind of forecast exactly what it's going to look like. So
it sounds to me the idea of the story is the hitman is going to learn about the struggles that his wife goes through, and that's what the whole thing is really about.
I doubt it, because I don't see him. I mean, he does the beginning of the book. He shoots his childhood friend in the head. I mean, splits him like a canoe, just, you know. Yeah. So clearly the guy is not, I don't see him, even though he's in a woman's body, I don't see him. Lugosi was Dracula. Sorry for the eye thing. Someone's correcting me in the comments. My bad. So I don't see him when he's in the lady's body, unless he decides he's going to play it cool. I don't see him taking crap from nobody. He's not going to experience what it's like to be her. These people are going to do this douchey stuff to him, and he's like going to break their bones. Even though he's in that, because he's got the mind for it. I think he's just going to be viciously. I mean, as he's walking out of the bathroom because she was feeling sick and runs into the bathroom, and then when he comes out, it's him and one of the people at the grocery store is like, "Oh, lady, are you all right? Do we need to call somebody?" He's like, you know, fuck no, get out of my way, and goes stomping off. So.
Well, and I guess when you were talking about the teenagers that were being cruel to her, it was things like that I wondered that as he keeps seeing the struggles that she goes through, that he sees a new perspective.
I would be shocked if they go that route because, like I said, to me the guy seems so hard-boiled that it's not even going to faze him. He's just going to go, I'm not taking this abuse. I don't think he's going to sit around and go, wow, you know, this is the – I mean, maybe Gail's going to do that. I'd be kind of surprised, though, because to me it doesn't strike me as the right – they'll have the right person in a woman's body to suddenly go, oh, wow, you know, this is how, you know, women are treated. If they're going to take that, like, you know, that stance with it. Yeah. I mean, I guess they could. I'd be surprised if they do. To me, that'll be weird. I mean, anybody else think that she's going to do that? Rez or John, you guys, either one of you guys have a sense that they would do that with?
Yeah.
You think he would just roll with it? I don't know. I just from what I got of the character, I just can't see him rolling long enough.
It's hard to tell. I mean, seeing where Clean Room went, I don't know. I don't see it like, because if she did go that route, then it would be even more like Freaky Friday, which I don't think that's her intention. I think the only reason why that was even brought up in a way, I think in the foreword maybe was because they wanted us to know that this is. That it was inspiration from that. But I think they're going to try to differ, or she's going to try to differ so much from that, we won't feel that same way, you know? We don't feel like it's a direct copy of that movie.
Yeah. Alrighty. What else want to talk? We want to talk some Shaolin Cowboy?
Oh, pork chop battle, yeah.
It's a Shaolin Cowboy who will stop the rain.
Yeah, that was one pork-tastic, wonderful fight. I was wondering how it was going to go down, and it did not let me down at all. The idea of the ninja skills that the pig has, and then, of course, the collision of vehicles as the monk decides that he needs to seek inner peace. That was... I totally did not know where this was all going to wrap up, and it was great to just see the chaos of the situation while he looks for a moment of calm.
Right. Yeah, because, I mean, everybody's, like, all converging in the same spot. Their cell phones aren't working because they got bad cell service because they're using, I don't know, Verizon, Apple equivalent, you know, Verizon iPhone equivalents or something like that. So clearly, you know, Daro's got an issue with with that company would be my guess.
Yeah.
Yes, and they all collide and pretty much absolutely wreck our lovable pig here, Mr. whatever his name was. I can't remember what it was. Kong Hog or Hog.
Yeah, Kong Hog. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just the typical wonderful stuff that is. Well,
in the description of why did the crab want this all done, and he's like, once again, the Shaolin cowboy ate family members, and so you see this reoccurring theme and this whole thing.
So the pig hated him. The pig hated him because he ate. Yes.
Yeah. And then the best part too is as soon as he does his explanation, the people behind him are like, "Well, I want to tell my story now." Like each one has a story of how they were wronged by the cowboy.
Right. Right. And I loved him swinging the nunchuck dogs, grabbing the two dogs by the tail, two of the murder dogs that have their front legs are daggers, grabbing them and whirling them around like nunchucks as he wrecks everybody and makes everybody kind of stand back like, oh no. So yeah. Awesome stuff. It's lots of fun. I love, like I said, I love looking at all the stuff in the background. Some of it is, in this issue is wonderfully vulgar.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no, never mind. I probably can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's not too much you can show, and there was quite a few bottom double page spreads with the battle that I thought was nice. Like you said, I mean, the artist puts so much into it, and then does so much more, by doing a double page spread of it too.
Yeah, I mean, you can just go back over this book a million times and see new little weird quirky things that are, in corners or tucked away someplace and whatnot. So lots and lots of ridiculous eye candy, in the book. And that's one of the things that just makes it fun too. Besides just the absurdity of him fighting a giant pig with ninja skills.
Yes, with ninja skills. Yeah.
Called the accountant. We ninjas are the accountants. Because because their martial arts keep the world in balance, and they're going to make him see red. Woo! Yeah. There's some serious fighting words. And
I did also like that the crab's girlfriend has that moment of clarity where she's like, "I remember being in an Italian restaurant with breadsticks and unlimited buffet."
Right.
And then crab gets back and
mumbles something about Trump. Why do I care about Trump? Yes, because the crab rides on top of her head, and when it's riding on top of her head, it like melds with together, and the crab's in control of her body, and supposedly she is his fiance. So, and she's a total mess. I mean, there's swastikas everywhere and whatnot. But yeah, it's some pretty awesome stuff. It's like I said, it's vulgar and wonderful. And when they crash, of course, the crab separates from her, goes flopping over, and the dogs are all licking the crab, trying to decide whether or not it tastes like dead crab or live crab. And they really can't tell the difference because crab just tastes like crab, regardless of whether it's dead or alive. So, yeah.
And poke him. He hates being touched, so they just poked him until he was mad enough
to wake up. Right? Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. It's a big, giant, ridiculous fight scene. And for me, I'll segue right into Headlopper. This is a quarterly book, comes out from Image Books. This is Headlopper, The Crimson Tower, number 2 of 4. Or if you put it together as a full series, it's number 6. Like I said, it comes out quarterly. So it's a big, huge, thick, I don't know, it's like 70, 80 pages kind of a thing. And it's the same thing as Shaolin Cowboy is, in that it's basically a big, giant, fight fest. That's what the whole thing is. And in this one, he's battling these demon-headed bat things, and they're talking about fighting styles and about. There's a person that's along with him that keeps talking about how she's got this fighting style, and she yells out these crazy commands as she's attacking somebody, a la, I don't know, Power Rangers or that whole sort of thing. And me, being an old guy, I've always thought, well, that's kind of ridiculous to yell out what move you're attacking the person with, because they know how to prepare for it. And Headlopper kind of mentions that in here. You really shouldn't yell what you're doing, because that makes you really predictable. And, anyway, that part was pretty funny. But it's the same, but it's different, because in this, the artist and writer in this, McLean, his artwork is super simple. He keeps everything really streamlined. And it's not bogged down with insane details like well, it's not bogged down either, but it doesn't have massive amounts of the same detail like Shaolin Cowboy does. But it's still really great, really dynamic, lots of exciting stuff. Nice Jody Valeri colors. So it's all bold. It's this bold, color schemes. And, there's all kinds of head chopping. Right here, he just whirls around and takes off all these little, he's swinging these little demon bat things over his head. And then he chops all their heads off because he's a head lopper, of course. And the character's great because he drags around this, the Blue Witch, Agatha, her head. He drags it around everywhere with him, and she cusses and spits and hates everybody and hates him. And it's just funny because they're like a comedy duo. He's the straight man. And of course she's, has all the silly lines and whatnot. And it's kind of fun. So I really like it too. And I like this format. It's not late, but it just comes out every 3 months we get another issue of it. And good stuff. What else indie-wise do we want to talk?
Let's see. I read Black Hammer. Black Hammer issue 10.
Oh yes, Black Hammer. Oh, what an awesome comic.
Yeah. I really love this issue. I really did. Well, go ahead.
One of the things I thought was crazy was this last issue when we talked about it, was like, oh my gosh, the kind of the twist in it. You're like, oh my gosh, they just did that to this character.
Yeah.
And in this issue, I think it even has a bigger twist, even a huger, huger. Oh my gosh, a bigger reveal in it. I mean, it's just kind of like, what? So
yeah. It just keeps getting better. Like, you know what? It's crazy because this is a book that makes me sad that people doubt Jeff Lemire sometimes because he's such a good writer. Like, look at this. This is a perfect example that he is a phenomenal writer. Like, look, he just literally did a complete different genre than his usual work, which is, like very slice of life,
Well, but this is really, don't you think this is like really character driven?
Yeah, it is character driven.
With not tons of plot. See, here's my thing. I've decided with Jeff Lemire, because we'll talk about another book today also that's by him. If he just gets the opportunity to just kind of tell stories about character, about situation, about about how people are trying to function and whatnot, I really like that. If you force him to create a tight plot that gets us from point A to point B, a lot of his freelance work for DC and Marvel, then to me it gets a little dicier and not as good for me. I think his character stuff is really good. And with this, really every issue is more about exploring a character more than the plot itself. I mean, there were some big plot reveals in this, I think, but yeah. I
have some speculations on what may be occurring. You know how we're obviously our team, they're stuck on this farm, Black Hammer Farm. They can't get out. One thing I'm really shocked I had to say about, I'm just completely, I don't even know what to say, is that Walkie Talkie's a girl. Like, is this whole time, or Talkie Walkie?
Huh?
Yeah, did they not refer to Talkie Walkie as a male this whole time? Or am I mistaken?
No.
Or not any gender at all? Maybe I'm just assuming that Talkie Walkie was a male?
I'm thinking there was some other point where they mentioned offhandedly that she was a she.
I was shocked by that. I was like, whoa, this changes everything. And so that was one shock factor for me within this issue, besides the ending. But I feel like this team, they're stuck on Black Hammer Farm. Abe obviously doesn't want to leave because he feels like he's washed up. He can't superhero anymore. So he's fine with this life, this boring, quiet life, peaceful life on a farm. And is it Lucy, the daughter of Black Hammer, is questioning what's going on here? Why are you guys trapped here? Why are you not trying to fight this? Or particularly, why are you, Abraham Slam, not trying to fight this? I think that Madame Butterfly has something to do with them being trapped on this farm, because I mean, we see at the end that she tells the sheriff, you are becoming a problem and I don't like problems, and therefore
you're not a problem anymore.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, Madame Butterfly, this whole time I've been picking you out. I've been watching you. she had some stuff on her sleeve, and I'm just I'm like, what are we gonna find out next? Really, honestly, because she, you know, like I didn't really care for her character. There were some moments where in issue 6 where they actually did a backstory of her, and I remember this issue like because it's the fact that it was the only issue that really talked about her. I remember not feeling, I felt underwhelmed with it. It was just, it wasn't that great. It was okay. We got more insight on her character, but it was not enough for me to feel like I liked her. But this, I like her. Like I like her as a bad person. Like I really do.
Well, she's less relatable. Her character and her situation is, to me, seems less relatable than all the other characters. All the other characters come across as very human and have very human flaws.
Yeah.
Hers are kind of weirder. I mean, she's attached to this house, the supernatural stuff, you know, her kid or not kid. There's just some weird elements there, to me, are less relatable than most of these others. I mean, this is another issue where we get this great story where we get kind of flashbacks to Abraham trying to, you know, Hammer trying to modernize himself. You know, he's a 1940s hero trying to move himself into the modern time. So he, you know, he gets shoulder pads, he gets boleros with big bullets on it and stuff. You know, he gets a helmet with wings on it. So he's, you know, he's incorporated into the, you know, into the 80s and 90s, you know, kind of a thing. He goes out to fight crime, and his costume starts falling apart while he's fighting crime, and he's going to get his ass kicked because he's tripping over the bits and pieces of his silly costume that he has. And these kids show up and save him. And basically they're nice to him because he's original OG, right? I mean, he's, you know, he's one of the old guys. But they're also like, do you need help? Do you need help getting home? Can we give you a ride somewhere? You know, all the kind of, you're a lost old man, we're trying to help you out kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, so it's a great way of showing him washed up and why he's content to be this kind of silly farmer stuck on this farm. He doesn't, I mean, they basically say, look, you're stuck in a prison. He's like, this isn't a prison. This is great. This isn't a prison. You know, and the other part here is pretty relatable just from a, well, from a standpoint of attempting to have a relationship with somebody and having that person shut you down because you've gotten a signal of some sort that you think they're some way, and then it doesn't, you know, it doesn't work out.
Can you talk about that more though? That one aspect of Barbalian and his failed attempts at trying to find love, like the guy doesn't get a break, does he? Like he tries so hard, and it's like I think he misreads a lot of. I think maybe, and it's not even just the fact he's an alien. I think just that happens to a lot of people where you just misread signals, you know, and it can go several different ways.
So he thinks there's something potentially between him and this the priest of the town.
Yeah.
He goes to act on that, and it does not go in his favor, you know, kind of a thing. But it's just such a great book. I don't know. It's really, I love the kind of golden age spin on it. You know, you get these kind of classic, you know, golden age-ish kind of characters, but of course, you know, they treat everything in a modern fashion. It's just a just kind of cool way of telling the story and stuff. And when this was first announced, it got pushed back because the artist had some health issues. So they decided they weren't going to release it until he was back to full health so they could just go on, not have delays and that sort of stuff. And it was kind of billed as kind of this, you know, a wink and a nod at being the Justice League kind of a thing. And I thought, oh, this will be cool. I mean, I like reading stories that are kind of, you know, play with the whole Justice League kind of thing. This is way better than I could have imagined it being as far as that kind of stuff goes. It's just really, really a great book that really easy to get invested in. You know, playing with the whole superhero genre and you know, what if some people don't want to do it anymore and that sort of thing, without having to be Watchmen. You know, so great stuff. Look at the comments. Edward's here, honey sir. He's saying that you know, Black Hammer was great this week. He was shocked that Takiwaki was being female as well. But I'm gonna have to go back and look at the issues because I could have sworn there was some point that they kind of implied.
You won't find it.
Okay, well I'm gonna be looking. I'll tweet you the picture when I find it. So
like challenge or something.
Yeah, and Ed's saying that he likes the part where they were the stuff where Abe was trying to be grim and gritty. You know, his Rob Liefeld costume fell apart because that's literally what it looks like. I mean, it just looks like he's got extra pouches and shoulder pads and stuff. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Great comic. What else we got?
Shirtless bear fighter.
I love that cover. That cover with the bears.
It is the better of the two covers.
No. I got the best cover.
Oh my goodness. I love that cover. I love it.
So I heard about this book and I was seriously tempted because I'm always amused by the whole idea of the, the classic pugilist. That's an old-fashioned fist fighter for those people who don't know. Fighting sharks or fighting bears or rhinos or anything like that. So I was really tempted to get this just for the laugh of it. So, is it fun? He's more than shirtless, though, right?
Start? Yeah, John, would you like to start? Or
oh my goodness! All right, so there's a bit of a backstory with my selection of this one. First of all, I was trying to be good. I was at the shop. I had a big stack of comics in my hands, and Mike, Sergeant America, is a horrible influence, horrible, and points it out to me, and says, "Why aren't you getting this?" And of course, I was like, "Okay, I'll try it." So we both ended up getting it, which is hilarious. We couldn't agree on our covers. Yes, true to what you'd expect. He is indeed shirtless, pantless, and everything else less. We have pixels where they need to be, blurred outness occurring, but you see the dimensions. It's very vivid. And the bears definitely get punched in the face a lot in this book. I don't know how I feel about it. Besides the fact, it's funny. It's so funny.
It is the classic, almost MacGyver man on the mountain story where the government needs somebody with an expertise. There are bears that are going into town and they are attacking people, and we see that this nice couple, and they're just about to get the what going on, and a bear shows up, and the shirtless bear fighter comes out of nowhere naked to punch the bear, and when he does, he gives. I don't think he yells it out. I think it's the Batman. It goes, bear punch! Yep. And then
nice.
We see the government hanging around the cabin, and they're getting ready to abduct or, it looks like they're going to storm this cabin. And of course, shirtless bear fighter, being the expert, mountain man, sneaks out of nowhere and is like, this isn't going to work. I'm not going back to civilization with you. And of course, we stand there naked in front of everybody too. And then, if he does the quick turn, they do also do the slap motion.
Yep.
So as John says, he's proportional.
Yeah.
To tempt him to come back to civilization, they do offer him an unlimited amount of flapjacks.
Oh, nice.
And pure maple syrup. He's like, that is grade A quality maple syrup. So
I love it.
So yes, we got an incredibly silly story. He needs to come in to stop the bears in the city. He's reluctant. So the government's flying back. All of a sudden, something shows up on radar, and it's the bear plane. And it is a plane entirely covered in bear hides. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to just expect one level of ridiculous on top of another. But then you get into this faux serious, interesting storyline where they allude to certain things, like he was raised by bears. Somebody had left a child in the forest. He was raised by bears, and then loggers came in, and he had to defend against the loggers, and everything seems to be going fine. But something happened in his past, and you just see him holding a dead human woman in his arms, and there is, then he has to turn against the bears for some reason. So all you get is this illusion of what may be, what may have caused this. And so I'm like, well, it's almost a very interesting storyline. I'm going to read it. I'm going to keep going. But, yeah, you find out. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. This is just too good. If you're going to pick up the shirtless, by issue 2, I'm sure the spoilers will get out, and so I'll talk more about it then. But it is a silly book that you would expect from Image Comics. So
it was fun.
How about Action Lab did it? Because like Action Lab does a lot of animal funny things like that.
Yeah. No, and of course, on the back cover we get
the Charmin, the Charmin ad.
Yeah.
Love it.
It is very sharp artwork in here too. I think it'll pull up on there. So we just get some shirtless images here. Nothing too bad, but they're offering the flapjacks. the young lady does say, "What's this about pancakes?" And the guy gets mad. He goes, "Flapjacks." She didn't know they're flapjacks. So I mean, there's all these extra, things that in a Gail Simone clean room would be the hint drops to there's something deeper to all this, but it's not very deep. But that's why I like it.
Also, we had some local connection to this that Mike
Thank you,
provided
Johnny.
some background on. You should do it. You tell it better.
All right, So we were talking to we're buying both of these and we're laughing, and the one of the managers of the store mentions that somebody came in and bought 10 issues right away, and it was the mother-in-law of the artist who is somehow related in Sioux Falls. So I mean, mother-in-law, I don't think he'll ever come and visit for that reason, but if he ever has to, I mean,
we gotta get him on the show.
I know we're going to totally try and just use PR campaign now. So
Nice.
it'll be amazing.
Nice. That's fun. Gotta have some fun comics sometimes. So
Yeah.
and he's got a powerful beard. So I may have to pick up the book just to support the bearded characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Just
go.
good old bear attacks. I mean, you can get it for the bear attacks. You can get it for the love story. You can get it for the flapjacks, or you can get it for the man meat. Whatever you like.
I
We're
played
all
the
of
fifth.
the above.
Yep.
Awesome stuff.
I'm about to pick that up. I'm gonna go to Second and Charles and go pick that one up.
Yep.
Yeah, funny. Too funny. Alrighty. What else? What are we talking about? What you got, Rez? What else you read?
Look, Monday Murders.
Oh, Black Monday Murders. This is issue what? 10?
It's 6.
Six. Why does it feel like it's more? Because it used to be
I know.
extra thick, right? It used to be a thicker book, but
Yeah, you
still
remember me
seriously digging it.
I know. This one was I can't say it was slower because it still had good moments. It still had not slower. That's not the best word. The word I looked at, I was like, no. I'm like rephrase, Rez. What word am I trying to use for it? It wasn't okay. Last issue, I felt like there's some more like a little bit more action or something. I don't know something. Maybe I'm not remembering it. When was the last issue? Because I feel like something else happened, like really crazy happened. But this issue, it felt like it took its time getting there. Like maybe the conversations were a little bit slower.
So did last issue end with them doing the funeral? Where they loaded the guy up in the church, they bought the whole church and burnt the whole thing down?
Oh, okay.
So last issue was really informative, right? It had lots and lots of it started really filling in the picture of who these people are, what was going on, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
That made me feel like that issue had more going on. I mean,
and we explored, didn't last issue, didn't we also explore the right-hand man guy that was that liked Roth, even though Roth got killed, explored some of that, kind of how he's being manipulated and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, I really like this issue. This one was really, really good. I liked seeing that wow, and Familiar. I was almost gonna forget the Familiar. Seeing her in action, like I don't know what in the crap she was doing. Like she was like really getting down in that blood. Like she's murdering people and she was sacrificing people. I don't know what she was doing, but she had a good time doing it, and it was very apparent by the time she got to the other dude.
The story's told in kind of this really kind of tight timeline. At one point it jumps, it tells you something forward and then goes backward to show you how they got there very briefly. But otherwise it's, every couple pages it tells you what day it is, what time it is, and so all this stuff is kind of all happening.
Track of that?
Because we have scenes where it's our detective and the economist are on their way to Washington D.C. because that's where the power is all at. The Federal Reserve. Because the whole book is based around the idea that magic is power, and money is power, and really that there's these secret societies that are manipulating the market because that's where the power is at, and that power is basically keeping them. They're in the service of
the devil.
A demon, in the service of the devil, But in the manipulation of this power, it of course makes them powerful, strong, and all that kind of stuff. That whole megalomania kind of thing going on. And so the detective and this economist are there to they're going to ask some questions that I think could get them killed, quite frankly. They're basically they're going into the Federal Reserve, the seat of power, to find out about this, to ask some question manipulation. Meanwhile, of course, we've got our newest, she's the chairperson, and in this hierarchy of how this whole society of these secret mages work, right? The person who sits in the chair kind of controls the power and makes the decisions for everybody else. So it's an important seat. And she kind of inherited it backwards, and no one's excited about the fact she has it. And she hates all these people because they exiled her for a while. And now that she's back, she wants to wreak some revenge. Well, one of these, she goes shooting. And I don't know, if I'm in the middle of a power play with violent people, the last thing I'm going to do is go target practice shooting with them.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, why is she there?
But she does, and this woman, this other woman who's part of this other family kind of threatens her, and she's like, yeah, well, she sniffs, and she goes, well, those aren't silver bullets. That's not going to even break my skin. And she just guns her down. I mean, just blah, 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 blah. No, but it's going to hurt like hell. And she's rolling around on the ground, basically going, oh, because she's not dying, but it hurts like a son of a bitch. And but then we get the familiar that Lorez was talking about, and the familiar is this stark white. See if I can find a picture of her. Yeah, okay, so there's the familiar. She's lit in red right here, of course, totally naked. But she's this stark white character. She looks like an albino. She does not speak English at all. She speaks in this magic tongue that's been used throughout the. Let's see. I mean, it's just symbols, which I don't know. My camera's not going to focus on that, but she just speaks in symbols. So you're never sure exactly what the hell she's saying. But yeah, she creates this whole, towards the end of the book, she is writing this magic circle out of a whole pile full of people's blood. Those are extras in the family. I don't think they're directly related to the family, but they're like the chauffeurs and the butlers and the secretaries and whatnot. So, but she's just making this elaborate circle to do what we don't know, but she's going to take out Victor, who's been kind of a thorn in everybody's side.
I know. Because
he's trying to grab all the power and whatnot too. Just a really great book. The colors on it are just so solid. Michael Garland does the colors on this. Not somebody I'm familiar with doing colors or anything else, but just great stuff.
I have a feeling, honestly, that the language she's speaking, I feel like Jonathan Hickman has probably translated it for us, but we have to go back and research it. Like, I feel like he's directly given us. He's
given us bits and pieces, but not the whole thing, because, quite frankly, I've been writing it down as I've been reading it just to see if it's going to tell me, because we get these kind of informational things that kind of tell us all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to keep track of it, as much of it as I can, just for my own amusement.
I tried to do that, but I gave up after.
Yeah.
But I figured we probably already have enough to translate what she's been saying. We just keep going back and referencing.
I don't think so, but if you figure it out, let me know.
We'll see.
I'm assuming that for her in this case, it's basically her saying the equivalent of, "Boy, you are in deep shit. We are going to get you now," is what I figure they're saying. So equivalent to that. So,
what do you think about this Haitian detective? Because obviously he puts on the facade that he's a Christian, so that his coworkers can feel more comfortable around him. Which shocked me, because in this issue, when he was talking to the professor and they were talking about religion and what they believed in, he made it very clear that he didn't believe in a physical afterlife. And so I was taken aback from that. One moment I had to reference back to that first issue where I remember seeing like something Christian like near his memorabilia, near his items on his desk. I thought, okay, he's obviously, this is a front that he uses so people won't feel weird about him using human bones on his,
right.
So this is so intriguing on so many different levels. The financial aspects, the magic, the fact that they pulled in like a Haitian character, which is even more intriguing because that's a different type of magic. So it's so crazy. I love it. I mean, everything about it. I love things about magic, like dark magic. It's like a weakness for me. I love stories like that. So the fact that it's done so well, kudos, Jonathan Hickman. I think he's a great writer. I've never had anything by him that I didn't like, but this is a top book for sure in these last 2 years.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. It's really intriguing. I feel like he's telling a long story,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I enjoy it. He gives you just enough to keep you going, and I really enjoy that, because the other book of his that I'm reading is East of West.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's up in the 30s, and it's a, you know, same sort of thing. Everything's really starting to pay off now. So I just know that what we're getting in this book now is building all these layers to some massive payoff down the road and whatnot. I don't know why. At some point, I thought this was a limited run book, but clearly it's not. It's clearly an ongoing. But
well, I think they shortened it up, the page count, which
sure,
I'm sad about it, because I really love that thick page count. But you know what? Even though it feels like he's doing it for the long haul, I feel like I get so much information within each issue. I don't need to rush towards anything. It's such a good story in itself.
right.
And I love East to West. You know, I collect the hardcovers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like super behind, because it took forever for that second hardcover to come out, a year or two.
Right.
But I love Black Monday Murders even more than I really enjoy East to West. I really enjoyed it, but something about this one is just, oh my God. And
Yeah.
same subject matter, the devil, you know.
I actually like this better also. There's a lot about East of West I like, but I think this has done a better, this for me has done a better job earlier on, really hooking me in, wanting to know what's going on. Whereas East to West, it took a few issues for me to really totally be on board. I rode with that book to start out with, because it was a post-apocalyptic Western, and I just liked the idea of that. So the idea kept me on it until the story started really sinking in. Whereas this one for me immediately hooks me in. So yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Cool. Alrighty. Fellas, you got any other indie books you want to talk about?
John, you got any?
I'm pushing my luck here, you guys, but I don't know. This one might be a recurring theme when I'm on your show for some reason, but Boom Studios isn't part of the big two, so gotta give a shout out to my Power Rangers team.
Sweet.
Love Power Rangers. Issue 16, you guys been rocking with the series since issue 1. Issue 0, technically. It's been a blast, though. A lot of fun. Wrapping up the evil green white ranger arc, alternate reality stuff, whatever the case is. Of course, the good guys are going to win. But what I really like about this book, again, is the exploration of each of the Rangers individually, as well as Zordon. Getting some of that goodness that you don't get from a 20-minute episode on TV contaminated with commercials, right? So with that, of course, my comic shop knows me too well, so they gave me the Green Ranger variant cover as well to celebrate some Dragon Zord love. So totally digging that too. But loving this Kyle Higgins run, you guys. It's awesome. There's another Rangers series coming up, Go-Go Power Rangers, that's evidently going to focus more on like the personal side of things when they're not in a costume or suit fighting, so more about the personal lives of each character. So that's interesting in itself. I don't know how I feel about it, but with this run, I know I love that run. So,
do you know if Higgins writing that too?
It's going to be a different creative team, I heard.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a little edgy about that myself, just because we're so spoiled with this one. So we'll see. So
why not? Well, I'm always happy to hear when people get, you know, their childhood thing put into comics or whatever in this form, and it works, because it's frustrating because it has a lot to live up to. At least I always think it does. I mean, if somebody's going to be doing my love of cartoons and they're going to put it out there, it's, you know, it kind of has to be right. Otherwise, I sometimes can get frustrated. So that's cool when they do get it right. So that's
absolutely. Well, you know, I will say this is an opinion piece here, but the movie didn't do it right for me. So I'm glad that the books are out there, because the books. I mean, gosh, if the movie could have been a fourth of what the books are, I would have been way happier.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion.
I still haven't seen the movie yet. I need to go see it though.
And if you like it, Rez, no, don't hate me. Don't hate me.
Oh
well. So I want to briefly talk about Royal City.
Oh yeah.
Issue number 4. You read this, right, Rez?
Yes, I sure did.
So, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of the book. I really, really like this issue. There's just some fabulous images in this. So this issue largely kind of explores mostly the writer, of the family, the guy that's well, he's a writer and he's written stuff, but now attempting to try and write something else again. It kind of focuses a lot on him, a lot on his life, a lot about basically being 40 and and he's reaching that point in his life, which maybe some of you people haven't experienced yet, where you start looking at, instead of what am I going to make of my life, you start looking at this is what my life is, kind of a thing. Which I'm old enough that's kind of more where I'm at, as opposed to the what's new kind of thing. So that's all really kind of interesting. My life's not depressing like this guy's life is, though. But that's just all kind of, to me, that's all kind of really interesting stuff to be writing and whatnot, and kind of exploring. We get the hints, some more hints at what happened, kind of in the general. What happened to Tommy, right? It is Tommy. Tommy's the little brother that we know has died in some sense, but what really has happened to him, we get a little more of that. How everybody's kind of tied into that 1993. That kind of, when that moment happened, it kind of set in stone everybody else from that point forward, kind of a thing, it seems like. But there is an image in here of Mom, who I do not like. The mother is just one of those kind of awful mothers that clearly, I think, has probably been toxic her entire life, and the way she treats her children, or at least at the point Tommy dies. From that point forward, I'm guessing at least then she's been kind of toxic. She's very judgmental about all of her kids. Nobody meets the standard that it should be. All of this entire family, they all see Tommy differently. The drunk, Tommy's a partier along with him. The writer, Tommy's still that little kid that kind of haunts him. The big sister, Tommy's even a smaller kid that she kind of has to babysit after. Mom, Tommy's a priest. That's how Mom sees Tommy, as a priest. That's how she sees this dead son walking around. So clearly, no one's going to rise to the standard that Tommy is, right? So she's just kind of awful, everybody. But she's in the church and she's, praying or whatever. And I don't know if she's kind of remembering somebody being baptized or sees somebody being baptized and whatnot. And there's the whole prayers that go on, the baptism and the dropping of water on the child's head. So you're getting this moment where there's this, the family, the water dropping on the child's head, and they're saying the prayer, and you get this full page shot, and it's drowned Tommy hanging over the top of the family, and the drops of water actually, his waterlogged body dripping on them. If nothing else, this setup in this page sold this issue for me. I had goosebumps over it. I was like, and she's sad, and she just kind of walks out of the church, and no one's there. No one's there. So I think this was really her remembering baptizing Tommy, and then there's this. It was, to me, that was super powerful. It's like, oh man,
yeah.
That, and in the very end where the writer, he has Tommy's journal when Tommy was a kid. He's been dragging it around and kind of using bits and pieces of it for his own writing. Well, the ghost of Tommy convinces him to give it up, and he kind of tears it up and throws it in the water and floats away. That's a pretty good image too. But that whole baptism thing to me was just like goosebumps kind of thing. It's like, oh wow, this is one of those moments in comics that's, to me, it was just like, yes, this is why I'm here reading comics, for these kinds of things. So
yeah, I really enjoyed this issue for sure. That was a very powerful moment. I mean, immediately when I saw that couple with the baby, I immediately thought it was her, remembering the baptism itself of Tommy. And then when I saw that his body hanging over them, I said, this is so sad, because you see his death constantly looming over her. She feels like it's been around her so much. It's practically been integrated into her life, where it'll never give her peace. She goes to church to pray, and then she sees visions of her son, which is, I'm not saying someone would have a child that died and they would never, not remember the child, but you can see where really it's her deteriorating in spirit and more, she's weathering away just because of this, it's damaged the whole entire familiar unit. And then the brother, him hold on to the journal, and then, finally being convinced by the ghost of his brother to tear up the pages. That was kind of a pretty big moment too for me, because I thought, he's been holding on to this for so long. He's been, he feels like he's a hack at this point. He feels like he's not really an actual writer, and he feels like he needs his journal. But really, when you think about it, the journal really just had Tommy's last thoughts. It didn't really have anything that would give him a basis for any novel. So that was all him. So it's kind of sad that he doesn't have enough belief in himself, which could be, it could be based on the way his parents treated him, which is why he doesn't have the self-esteem to believe that he could write works that were meaningful or successful. And just kind of, this book makes you do a lot of self-reflection, life. I love it.
Yeah. It was a really, really good issue. Like I said, it sold me, whereas I've been kind of, it's just been good, but not like I'm blown away. This issue just really cemented the entire thing for me. This issue was excellent. Everything about it worked. So
for sure. Okay.
Right on. Okay. Anybody else got any other books they want to talk about?
I do got God Country.
All right. This is the final issue, yes?
Yep. Rez, are you reading this one too?
I only read a few pages. I didn't even get to read the rest of it like I wanted
All
to.
right. I'm not going to ruin it. I've been running cold, or I should say I'm running cool on this book. My experience in the past is Donny Cates and Elliot Rawl doing the paybacks, Buzzkill, and that funny stuff, action-packed. And while there has been some, battles in here, as it wraps up at the end, Donny Cates, I always forget sometimes the smart things that he does when he writes. And in this one, he explains things like there's caption boxes as he's doing this stuff. He goes, I never promised this would be, a happy story. I never promised this would be a battle story. I never promised. And as he's doing that, it keeps shifting the book into a different perspective for me. And it's making me appreciate the deep story that it's about the family. It's about the father. It's about the son. It's about the grandchild. And I think that's what it finally dawned on me, that I have been enjoying the book. I've been looking for the wrong book in this book. And I guess I wish he would have stressed that a little bit more in there somewhere. But by the end, all the little caption boxes that he explains make sense and made it a better book. So, it cranked it up into a heavy, warm book for me, because, I was waiting on something that was not ever going to be in this book. He was writing something else, and I finally saw it at the end. So, good job, Donnie.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, man.
Well, I've heard from other people too that they really liked it. It ended well. So
yes, yeah.
I'm always excited to hear that when a book can actually pull out the ending, because sometimes endings are hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick that up in trades. I avoided it because I just thought it was gonna be about a dude with a big giant sword. Does not interest me. So
yeah,
and you picked it up because you thought it was gonna be a book about a dude with a big giant sword, right? So
yeah. And I think that is the thing. I think sometimes he misses out on how he's selling things. He was talking at one time about if he was to do DC, what he would like to, what character, and people are doing. They're talking about Plastic Man and all these other silly, crazy ones. And he's like, I'm noticing everybody's talking comedy. And I'm like, as a writer, I think sometimes if you are great at something, sometimes you miss out on what people are enjoying of it. Or when you see a piece of art, everybody enjoys it for a different reason. And so it was interesting for him, I think, to finally see that, hear that from other people, and for us to see that he's not in a box. He's a bigger writer than what we thought. And I know somebody on one of the internet news sites was talking about somebody from the Big Two needs to pick him up, because it even surprised him, because they basically said by this time next year he's writing for the Big Two, and he's like, nobody's talked to me about it.
Yeah.
So, but I think some of these,
but it is kind of surprising because he is everywhere right now. It feels like.
Yes.
He's not right for the Big Two, but he has a book coming out from every other independent company that's out there, doesn't he? It seems like.
Yeah.
He's got that one. He's got an Aftershock stuff. I think he's writing something for. I want to say like, Boom. I don't know. It seems like.
From
What's
Image.
that?
That red
Image, right?
From Image.
Yeah. So. I would be surprised. If these books are successful anyway, that somebody will start courting him. I would guess.
And his writing in the 4-arc or 6-arc series, I think that's a good idea too. Write short stories, good to beginning, good to end. So.
Cool, awesome, good to hear that. Like I said, good to hear that it ended well. I'll be looking for it to get it in trade because I didn't pick it up initially, and then hearing that it's not what my assumption was makes me more interested in it. So.
Yeah.
I read issue 5 of the Old Guard, which is the end
That
of the
actually had
arc.
2 covers. Did you know that?
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, because one of them, as they kept raising it, I think the idea was that maybe somebody's going to complain about how much black was in that cover,
Uh-huh.
and the other cover has like 2 of the characters fighting on it. So
Oh.
I was surprised that 2 covers for that book.
Yeah. No, I didn't know. I'm fine with this though. I'm fine with the, this kind of, just this top, because typically we're just seeing their feet and a little piece of the weapon to know which character it is. That's kind of identifying it. And this being 5, this would be Niles. This would be our newest immortal, the one that just, just died in, I can't remember if it was Afghanistan or Iraq, one of the two, over there doing work for the military. So that's why she's packing the modern weaponry as opposed to, a big axe or that sort of thing. So kind of wraps up this arc. We find out who the kind of the turncoat is in the issue, because there's no way these people who figured out their immortals would have figured it out without somebody on the inside screwing them. It's one of them has basically turned on the rest of them, under the premise of that if this guy finds out how to recreate them, then maybe they can figure out how to turn them off. Because some of them are just tired of being alive. They've been alive for hundreds of years. Their families are all dead. Their families hated them on their deathbed because, of course, they're not dying. And so they just kind of have nothing to live for. Our main character's like, no, that's really, that may seem like me, but in reality, I do have stuff to live for. I just need to find what it is that I'm living for. Right now, I'm living for my teammates, the ones that are captured. I'm going to go save them and whatnot. We find out definitively how old the oldest one of them is, the main character, Andy. We find out how old she is. She is thousands of years old. It's crazy how old she is. But because the whole time she's been acting like she doesn't really know. She'll be kind of talking. It's like, oh, I don't know. Whatever. I can't remember anymore. It's been so long. And in this, what's that?
You get the exact number?
Well, yeah, they say 7,642 years, give or take, and if it's not less, I can tell you that for sure. Might be a year or two more, kind of thing. But
wow.
Yeah, so she's ancient. Kind of thing. She's older than civilization, kind of a deal. Basically, is where she's at. So, they deal with it. They kind of end it. They end in a place where they could go and do some other adventure by the end of it. The one thing I'll say, I enjoyed it. This issue, though, the art seemed not as tight. It was more rushed. I don't know if the inking was a little sloppier this time around, kind of a thing, because I'm a huge fan of Fernandez's art. I love his style. I love the dynamic shots that he gives and that sort of thing. But this one just seemed to, I don't know, it wasn't as tight as what all of his other work I've seen. The stuff that he's done in this book, the stuff that he's done on Names for Vertigo, the stuff that he did on the other Image book with Milligan. All that stuff was super tight. This one did not seem quite so much that way. So I'm not sure what's up with that, why that was the case. And it was consistently all the way through the entire book. It just seemed a little fuzzier. It was almost like maybe it wasn't him, that almost like it was a printing error and everything just kind of wiggled a little bit when the picture was taken or something, that kind of a thing. It just, nothing seemed crisp. So it was just kind of odd, but it was still fun. So I enjoyed it. If you like seeing lots of, this issue ends with all kinds of violence. They basically, they're in Dubai. They climb, the bad guy that's holding their friends are at the top of a skyscraper, and they basically ride up the skyscraper, blowing everybody up. They're immortal, so they can get shot and beat up and whatnot, but they don't die. They just kind of fall over and go ouch and then pick themselves back up again. So they just kind of mow through. Hundreds of people die in this issue. They just chew up all kinds of people. There's one scene where they're shooting each other, the immortal that's turned on them, and Andy basically sit there and cuss at each other and shoot each other until they keep falling over dead over and over again, which is kind of a fun scene as they try to take their aggressions on each other. And the answer for what they're going to do for the person at the end that's turncoated on him is interesting, because it's not like they can kill him. They can't seek revenge on him and just kill him, because they don't die. So they have to find something else to do, and that's kind of interesting. But yeah. Right? Any other books?
I had a book called Winnebago. Winnebago Graveyard.
Oh, cool. Came out last week.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was okay. Like, I mean, the very beginning where they had a human sacrifice was pretty intriguing. Like, that was the most, I guess, creepiest part of the story. I try to grab anything that Steve Niles is on, pretty much. So the fact that he wrote the script for it, that intrigued me enough to pick it up. And it's about a family that's trying to take a trip. You know, it's a guy. He's married to his woman, and his son is his stepson. He doesn't really like him too much, and they're taking some kind of cross country trip in his Winnebago, and they end up at this carnival, this weird, creepy carnival. They try to have a fun time. It starts ending. The night starts ending. It's late evening, and they go back to their Winnebago, and it's gone. And so they try to prompt one of the carny workers to allow them to use a phone to call the cops. And the carny worker pulls a knife, not a knife on him, but a gun on him, a shotgun, tells him, if you want the law, you're going to have to walk in town. 15 minutes in town kind of situation. So they go to the town, and the town's creepy and deserted pretty much. And now they're just asked out. They don't know what to do. So it pretty much ended very, very promptly. Like, it didn't, it didn't give us a chance to see how creepy this abandoned town or weird town that they had to go to get the law at is. But I'm going to read issue 2 and then judge from there. But it was okay. It wasn't bad.
I liked the art. I liked the art.
Yeah.
I like the kind of odd, weird visuals of the tough one. They do the kind of dark, creepy carnival really well and stuff. So that's I enjoy that quite a bit about it. It definitely has that kind of, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s, kind of Hills Have Eyes horror-esque kind of feel to it and stuff. And I think that's kind of what they were going for. So
yeah.
As far as that. Cool. Alrighty. Any others?
One last one that I read was called Normals by Aftershock. Issue number 2. I remember I told you last issue that I read it.
Right.
We left off where we started this issue where we left off with last issue, where he finds out that he's a robot, and him and his whole family are robots, that they actually had a beacon that was turned on that the program allowed them to come back to base. And so now the scientist that was running away from him explains to him, like, we're going to deprogram you. And while, they're planning to deprogram him and his whole family, he's begging for them to let his family go. He says, you can do anything you want to me, but please let my family live. And they're telling him, you're just a robot. You and your family are robots. You're not real people. Like, just accept it. You're not. And he's like, you're so cold and callous. How could you? And he's like, please just let them live. And he's just crying. And they're like, okay, stop the procedure. Stop right there. And apparently their program was not a fail, because they were deprogramming them because they initially thought that their whole entire secret thing where they're having robots being made to simulate our automatons.
Automatons?
There you go.
Automatons? Okay.
Yeah. He has them. They're supposed to assimilate into into groups of people and stuff like that, into the populace, and they weren't really able to at first. I guess the first generation, and so the fact that he's showing qualities like a human, like actually being able to cry, it's very strange, because they never installed any kind of tear duct situation in these automatons.
Pretty good.
Yeah, there you go. So the fact that he's crying is like really like a miracle to this scientist. So he calls up the head of the whole entire program and says, "Hey, we have a miracle. I mean, this android of some sort is crying now. Let's not kill him. Let's not deprogram him." And the lady's like, "No, we're not. Just go ahead and put Pandora back in the box. We can't deal with this. What, they're dangerous. We don't want no part of this. Kill them, or I will make sure you never even get to perform back alley abortion in Tijuana. So you're gonna go ahead and do what I tell you to do." And I'm like, well, that's a pretty serious threat right there. So the guy is like, okay, he hangs up, or she hangs up on him, and he goes and he says, he tells the android and his family, like, "Hey, I'm gonna get you guys out of here, give you a chance to live." And so we end on that point. But it's okay. It's getting a little good. It's getting a little good. It's not the best that I've read, but it's okay. It's okay. It's readable. It's serviceable.
So it's going to be robots on the run.
Yeah. There's a few books I've been reading as of late that are dealing with, you know, robots of some sort that try to assimilate into the populace. And so, like, there's a book called Failsafe by Vault Comics, and I'm like, it's so similar. Like, all these are so similar. You know, I don't feel like I'm really reading such a unique book right now. But yeah,
cool. Cool. Okay. No other indie books we want to talk about? Any indie news? One thing I did here, kind of going back to John and talking about, you know, having books that write about your you know, childhood TV shows or cartoons that you like and whatnot. They're going to be doing a new Samurai Jack comic book.
That's awesome.
But it's not. He's not. God, I wish I could remember what the name of it was now, and I can't find the details on it really quickly to. But it's going to be a new one, and it's new stories. So it's because there was a Samurai Jack comic book for a while, and it was decent. It kind of treaded the same ground that the TV show had been treading. This one's going to kind of go. It's more of a take on the Adult Swim version of the cartoon, so it's a little more violent, a little more blood. Because the original Samurai Jack, you know, all only thing he ever killed were robots, and this last season he ends up fighting actual people, and there's real blood and stuff like that instead of hydraulic fluid. But it's a modern twist because it has him walking around in a suit, it looks like, and whatnot. So I'm, as a huge Samurai Jack fan, I am intrigued. I'll probably end up picking it up just to see what it'll be like for them to explore the character in a completely different kind of a way. Or will I look at that and go, oh, no, you can't do that because it has to be this? I don't know. We'll see. But I'll curious to check that out. So, yeah. So no other indie-ish kind of news? I can't think of anything.
No.
Okay. So on to DC. Is that what we decided?
Yep.
What do we want to talk DC-wise first?
What was that?
Nothing.
All right.
Go ahead, Mike.
I picked up a beautiful Aquaman.
Ooh, that's
And I say that because it's Cedric's art, best known for Sunstone, a bondage and erotic comic, and his artwork is it's computer as far as I know, but it's very painted feel to it, and the storyline was even enjoyable on it. I guess try to give try to get the glare out of there, but the idea is that Aquaman has been dethroned, and they believe they have killed him, and trying to think of the name of the king who has decided to take over. Coram Wrath is the name of the king. He is a true Atlantean. He is not a half-blood like Arthur is. So evidently somebody in the court has also turned against Aquaman. That's how they were able to do this, that he was killed, buried, and left somewhere, and now the Atlanteans are truly back to full power. They're going to use all their Atlantic magic. They're going to be this great kingdom once again. They've cut off ties to America, and as they're running this kingdom, they're also hearing rumors of a ghost of a man who is defending, because the king has decided to have the haves and the have-nots, and the have-nots are struggling. And we see images of Arthur because he just can't stop himself. You know, there's guards swimming around everywhere, and he's like, I can't stop people being abused. So he runs out real quick, and he says there's someone else in another town that uses darkness to, you know, fight crime, and I'm going to do the same. And it's a school of fish that's swimming everywhere, so that, you know, you can't see who it is, and he's just punching people and taking them out. And everything's going great until finally there's a group of activists who decide that they are going to try and overthrow the government, and he has to get involved. He decides that he's going to go forward. They actually see his face, and as the guards start coming, he has to leave. He runs into this other mutant girl who is a mixture of something, but she looks, you know, she's angelic almost. She's got webbed fingers and everything, and they call her Dolphin. So it's a nice new character, and like I said, I picked it up for the artwork. I was glad for the story. I've been reading the trade on Hoopla. It's been a very good book this entire time, but this art is going to make me jump on it. I don't know how often this is going to come out now because we talked about this is an oversized edition, so this was the $3.99.
Right, because it's the anniversary issue, right?
Yeah.
The issue 25. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was packed full of all that beautiful art. It was another reason I figured if I'm getting even more Cedric art, I'm definitely picking this up. So I enjoyed it. Mara is still alive. She just finds out that Aquaman is alive, so she's going to go running back to him. But now Aquaman has grabbed this beautiful young dolphin girl, and so I'm waiting to see if that creates a
get the love
an
triangle
argument.
going.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So I recommend it. I mean, it's definitely good. So.
And I see that he's starting to sport the beard.
Oh yes.
He just needs to get it. He just needs to get a little bit longer, and then he can get that hook hand going.
Yeah, the best Arthur of all times. Yeah. So we do see a little bit of him there, and he is definitely looking buff, rough, and tough. I wonder if they're almost going to eventually look at restarting or changing it once the movie comes out, or trying to incorporate more of that. Because they like to.
Yeah, they can do that to a degree, but they can't. I mean, Jason Momoa does not look like Arthur Curry, and if they made Arthur Curry to look like that, the comic book fans I think would like blow a gasket because, I mean, they can move him that direction some. They can make him a little more edgy or whatever. That's the beard and the hook hand, right? But they can't. They can't suddenly load him. They can't suddenly load him up with tribal tattoos and make him dark haired and whatnot. That would I don't know. That would be
the hot topic.
Another mutation.
I was gonna say I would probably my other half would probably force me to buy the book. Then I'd be back to reading Aquaman, but yeah, I don't know. So.
I totally recommend the book. Even if it goes up to a monthly, that's $4.99. I would go for that because I just think that he looks awesome as in this artwork.
So different. I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, he's gonna be on for like an arc, right?
I believe so, at least. Yeah, he's gonna be there. So.
Yeah. Okay.
With the beard too, Mike, weren't you saying that you also felt they were kind of preparing the character for visiting South Dakota at some point?
Yes. Yeah, they do have to prepare him that way.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Gonna swim up the Missouri to get there or something, right?
Yep. That would be an adventure book. I'd pick that one up.
Yeah, I know you would. Oh, wow. Alrighty, what else DC-wise we want to talk?
Oh, goodness. I got DC.
Okay.
I got lots of DC. All right, so you know how I feel about colorful covers. So, Green Lanterns issue 25. This is such a fun book, you guys. First of all, Sam Humphries as a writer just blows my mind, and it makes me so happy that he's stuck with this book. I don't even follow creators that much, but I love Sam Humphries. I actually, right next to me, have issues that I got these signed by him. And so it says to Johnny Rock. And then this one, it's really dark, but it says to John, shout out to China the Poodle, which is from Image Comics. Our Love is Real. China the Poodle's in there. So he actually signed that on the pumpkin cover for me because I forgot my Our Love is Real. I didn't even know he would be in Minneapolis. So I was not prepared.
Well, he's a Minneapolis local, is he? Not now. I mean, he lives like in LA or something, but isn't he from Minneapolis?
No, I think he's like from the West Coast. Because when I said Sioux Falls, he was like, "What do you do there?"
See, I could have sworn. No, I could have sworn he's from Minneapolis because
I don't know.
I was at a con and he was chatting up Minneapolis a whole bunch.
Yeah. Well, because he was there for Wizard World. I don't think that because he hasn't been at any other cons up there. So unless he is super, exclusive to Wizard World.
See, I think he's from there though. That's
cool.
I really think he is from Minneapolis. Huge
but
fan, I know that. But anyway, sorry.
Totally. But no, Green Lanterns as a book, you guys, fantastic. So I've raved about it before. Great introductory material for me. I've never held a Green Lanterns title ever. I love the Yellow Lanterns because they celebrate fear, and one of my Halloween costumes is all about that. But this title has been great. So right now we're talking about the first Lantern. So they're taking us back to the origins of the Green Lanterns themselves. And Baz and Jessica are just amazing characters. It's two characters in one, but I've never seen a book hold such a healthy balance like this one has, and that makes me excited about it even more because it's telling two stories in one, and I really appreciate that. I don't know, like I've stuck with it. I love it. It's made me a green believer. I'm eating my spinach. Yeah.
Cool. So
I'm loving it. So
I always liked the idea of the Green Lanterns, but I don't like Hal Jordan, so it's always kept me from Green Lanterns. I did read some of that for a while, but I didn't stick with it. I'm not exactly sure why, but
yeah, no, it's just, and it's fun. It's, it's good content, and it has stuff that any Green Lanterns fan would want. Some of that origin stuff, but it's a lot of fun. I like it.
I want to talk Superman. I think I'm the only person reading Superman right now. So Superman, this is the end of the Black Dawn issue. I love this cover. Superman all rolled over there with his cape all walked on, his chest all walked on, with muddy footprints and whatnot. So this is an issue that Mike would love because it has one of Mike's favorite things about comic books, corporate comic books and whatnot. And there are
book sets.
So on art, it pencils is Doug Mahnke and Patrick Gleason. Yep. So I think it was supposed to be all Mahnke, and I think Gleason finished up some pages because this is the issue 25, so I think there are extra pages. But now the thing that we all love, right, is that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inkers. 6 inkers on this book. Woo! And it's not 6 inkers like the Doctor Strange book where each of them ink a particular part of the of the page to make it look like this is this kind of magic, so it pops out a certain way. No, this is literally from page to page almost. It changes inks, and some of the inkers clearly have a different style of inking than others do. So whereas there's some pages are awesome, they look great. Mostly it's the I have to admit most of it is the Gleason pages with his inker on it. Those work out well. And then there's other ones where one page, Superman has these nice thin lines around him, and then the next he's got like big dark, kind of thing. Somebody had a nice little paintbrush, and then somebody had a big nib and went around it. So it's really distracting. I love the story. This is kind of the crazy ending, Superboy versus Superman, kind of a thing, because he's all taken over by
Manchester Black.
Yes, Manchester Black has basically possessed him. He's all badass and going nuts and whatnot. But there's that little bit of, John in there wants to listen to his dad, and he ends up breaking the thrall of Manchester with the help of the girl that lived next door, because we find out the girl and the dad that own the dairy farm next door are actually aliens. She has some ability to kind of backlash his telepathy, so he gets this nasty neural feedback that wipes him out, basically turns him into a noodle. I mean, he falls down clunk in a comatose state, and then, they kind of pick up the pieces afterwards, and whatnot. It's like, well, he had all these, because Superboy, Manchester basically amped all of his powers up, so he had his full abilities, and then he loses them at the end of the fight and whatnot. It's like, well, maybe he'll get him back, maybe he won't. Well, he ends up getting him back. I mean, at the end of it, he flies off with the girl, so clearly. And they're moving away from the farm now. They're moving to Metropolis. So we'll see how that goes. John's not exactly excited about it because he likes living on the farm. He thinks his parents are going to make him hide his powers even more now, because at least on the farm, where there's nobody around, he could, super jump or, light things on fire or whatever. In town, what's he going to do? And they're like, well, we're not going to make you hide anymore. You're just going to be Superboy now. We're going to allow it. So that's a big move forward for the character in the book as far as that goes, which is good. The ending of it's hilarious. There's an epilogue at the end of it, because they've got Manchester Black's body back at the Solitude Fortress, and he's literally comatose. He seems to have no really brain function other than keeping his body alive at all. And there's some kids have snuck out to the farm, and they're sneaking some cigarettes. Like, let's get these cigarettes. And they start to pull a cigarette, and they're like, I wonder if he's here. You know who? And they're like, oh, gee, I don't know. And they're like, look, it's him. And somebody, and their eyes get all weird and glowy, like they've been mesmerized, right? You know, it's like, oh, and he's handing the guy cigarette. You need a light, mate. The guy's saying as he hands the guy. You're thinking, oh no, it's Manchester, right? His mind got blown into, we assume, a cow, right? Because the cow's eyes all glowy and he's smoking the cigarette. You know, they're talking to the cow, and then he loses it, and the kid's like, oh, what are we doing? I don't know. Let's tip the cow, and it ends with them tipping the cow. You know, so Manchester Black is stuck in a cow out on a dairy farm being harassed by kids, which I thought was pretty funny. But it was a good story.
I thought you were going to say Hellraiser there for a moment.
No, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But so a fun story. It ends. It's got a good ending to it. It's yay, everybody wins. You know, kind of, generally, kind of an ending. I'm okay with that. Had some good moments in it. Like I said, the inking was that part of it was actually tragic. So,
would you say the book is at its best when it's the father-son stories as opposed to the Doomsday ones that I read and some of those?
Yes, it's definitely when it's kind of the focus of the family and that is way more enjoyable than when we got like the Reborn stuff, for instance. I didn't care for that at all. That kind of completely forgot about the family and became this focus on, the split up Superman and putting them together into one Superman kind of thing. That was all not enjoyable for me. I think if you're wanting to read the Superman Punchy Punch story, I think Action Comics is where most of that element is at. Whereas this one, has those elements in it. I mean, this has got some awesome, huge splash pages of them, super punching each other around and whatnot. But it's really the family. And it's not just Superman and his son. It's not just Clark and John. It's Clark, John, and Lois. It's kind of them as a family. And of course, when Batman shows up, it's always Batman and Damian. So it's still kind of the, how they relate with each other, because they, as much as they aren't the same, they are the same. They have a lot of the same stuff in common and whatnot too. And so I like all those kinds of vibes. It's the few times that Batman comes across as being human as opposed to I'm the Dark Knight, kind of thing. So. And just kind of spinning out of that, of course, I read Super Sons, which is the monthly book that stars John and Damian, and I love this book. This book is just absolutely fun. I laugh my ass off in it. The kids are just great. They're that perfect 12, 13-year-old kind of thing. These two kids like each other, but they, they have to one-up each other, and they kind of act like they hate each other, but as much as they don't want to admit it, they both are basically are in the same boat, and their dads are like the most, superpowered people, kind of a thing. And how do you deal with that, kind of a thing, and their own vibe. Of course, they're in trouble here because they're both grounded because of the whole Amazo kid stuff that's been going on, the issues before this. So they ran off and did their own crazy stuff. Damian's bored stomping around the Batcave. He can't leave. He thinks it's ridiculous that his father is punishing him just to show the Clarks that he can be a parent too. Because if Superboy hadn't gotten in trouble, he wouldn't be in any kind of trouble either. This is just ridiculous, complaining to Alfred and whatnot, and stomping around. And of course, John's in all kinds of trouble on the farm. John runs away. He gets tired of it. He runs away. He doesn't know where he's going. He's mad because he's going to have to go to Metropolis. The whole thing just sucks. He ends up in Gotham, and he ends up going to the Batcave to talk to Damian, because despite the fact he doesn't like Damian, he's the one person he thinks could probably relate with him. Of course, Damian, being Damian, is like anything but friendly and helpful. Everything's a challenge. They kind of slap each other around and fight for a while, and then Alfred comes in, and they're like, "Oh no, we gotta hide because I'm not supposed to be here." So they're trying to hide inside the dinosaur, which has got a hilarious line in it. Alfred's coming in with 2 dinner platters, so clearly he already knows John's there. But they talk about the fact you can hide up in there, because there's like this secret hole up inside the dinosaur. And Alfred's like, he's got this great look on his face, and he says, I can't believe my life has come to a place where I have to say this. And he says, please step out of the dinosaur's buttocks. And I just thought it was funny. Here is this great groaning look on his face. And then, of course, the next, from his vantage point, of course, it's the old dinosaurs there. And, there's the kids looking like they're, climbing up for the dinosaurs. Anyway, so Alfred tells them this story about how Superman and Batman used to not get along and they fought each other and all this kind of stuff. But then they figured out realistically that they have so much actually in common. And isn't it great to have someone you can count on it as your back and your friend, blah, 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 that whole, kind of thing and whatnot. And then Superman and Batman do show up and they think, oh, great, we're in more trouble now. Cause they're like, no, we're going to let you go out. We're going to let you be superheroes, but you have to stick together. You can't go out by yourselves. You have to stick together. And they're like, oh, okay. There's a funny moment here where I think it's Superboy asks them, well, gee, is it true what Alfred said? You guys used to fight? And they're like, Superman's kind of like, well, no, us fight? No, we wouldn't fight. Even though, of course, there was all these pictures of them fighting. We wouldn't fight. And John's like, well, who would win if you guys really did fight? And he's like, Superman's like, I'm Superman. Who do you think would win? And Batman's like, me. And it's like, is your cowl on too tight? And because we know who would win. And Batman's just like, me. And then they drop that. But it's not like I said, just a fun book. I laugh all the way through it. It's great. It's got interesting when they do superhero stuff. The superhero stuff is interesting, but they're just kind of funny as a group, kind of a thing. And next issue, they're going to run into the Teen Titans. So I'm curious to see how that works out, because the reason Superboy isn't in the Teen Titans is because he's 12. He's not a teen. Duh. He can't be in the Teen Titans, as Damian always says. So it'll be curious to see how that all plays. I'm looking forward to it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What else we got for DC books? I have bunches and bunches. So
I got oversized Green Arrow.
Ooh.
And
jumping back on the Arrow, huh?
Yeah, see, I've been hit and miss on this, and I was on Twitter and trying to remember, it is Grade A Comics. Let me know that this was a really good issue, so went on his recommendation, grabbed this one, and it is. I could see that in the large storyline of the whole thing, it has been a very good story, but I just felt there's so much filler that when you get two fillers, or if you get two things that were a fly in the ointment, it double bothers you. And so I jumped off. I'm sure I'll end up grabbing them off of Dollar Wall or whatever else, but because the art has been great. Juan Fiera, Otto Schmidt have been doing great art in this. And in this storyline, it continues. Of course, Seattle has been destroyed because this town is trying to basically rebuild itself, and they are. They took down the Space Needle in a big battle. They've wiped out, tried to push out all the homeless people or people lowest income bracket, and because the Ninth Circle is still involved in this, they own the mayor. They own. They're in control of Queen Industries. So Queen Industries is giving money, and they're rebuilding it like this tech city. And Oliver finds out he's been arrested. He's being accused of killing his secretary, who ended up in the Bay, and his assistant Henry Fifth, who I really enjoyed during the Sorrentino run, is also supposed to be dead. And so there's just, he's all by himself, and he's just like, they kept questioning him, and he's like, lawyer, and then they question him a whole bunch more, and try and taunt him, and he's just like, lawyer, and they just continue this along, and it still is good. Emmy, his sister, calls herself the Red Arrow now. She's, basically like, trying to be a good hero in all of this, and wants to break him out, and he's like, no, I'm going to fight this legally. Oliver Queen needs to do this. It continues along. We find out that there's also the Ninth Circle is using magic. There's ley lines underneath Seattle, and they form this perfect pentagon that is underneath the Queen Industries, and his dad was involved, and it just continues on all this. That I could see there was lots of good storylines that were there, but there's been a couple people have told me that they stayed on it, they loved it. I just wasn't feeling it issue to issue. This was great. This was good to see it. A lot of Canary, good writing again with Canary and his reaction. bringing back the idea that he was the rich boy, that there's more going on. The Ninth Circle is actually abducting people, so we do continue the storyline along with that with human trafficking.
From
So there
issue
was a-
0. That was issue 0.
Yes, yep. So it has been good. It's been a big payoff for everybody who has stayed on. But I just felt there was so much in that, you know. There was also at the end a couple issues of a comic called The American Way, and this is a kind of a almost like a Shaft character. 1972, black FBI or CIA character who comes in. It's awesome. I mean, I think I will be picking it up. He is cool supreme. Let's just say that. He busts into this drug den to take out the drug lords. He's invincible, but he still feels all the pain. So they just shoot him up, and he's like, the pain was there so that his government handlers could keep control over him. And he's like, but you know, he's not going to do that. And so it's great. I am tempted. You know, he only flies into the room because he's got a jetpack on too. So it'll be very interesting to see this slightly larger than life, everyday kind of crime fighter in 1972. It's hit at just enough genres that it's piqued my interest, and of course the artwork is amazing too in it. So
yeah, it's a Vertigo book.
Yeah. George's Gentry is the penciler, and John Ridley is the writer. So if people like Ridley's work, because they mentioned he's an Eisner winner or an Academy Award winner, John Ridley. So he did 12 Years a Slave, Gorilla, and American Crime.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be getting it. I know I'm getting it.
All right.
It'll be cheap for me, so to start out with anyway. So I know I'll be getting it just because of that. So, yeah. Right on. Cool. Picked up Batman issue number 25.
Yes.
The beginning of the war of jokes and riddles. Was super excited. I always love Janet art, so I was excited for that, regardless of what the story was going to be. I'm really warming up to Tom King. I really like this issue. So basically, it's kind of told in the perspective of Batman. Bruce is telling somebody about this that happened. It's kind of like it's after the 0 year is done. The Riddler is in prison cooling his jets because, of course, he caught him after the whole 0 year thing. He's talking about how great everything is. He's been working for a year as Batman. He's pushed Gotham into the light. He's talking about, and it's harder and harder for the criminals because, of course, when it's, when the light's out, the criminals can't work and whatnot. And while he's telling this whole thing, somebody is doing, tryouts for a comedy night kind of a thing. And when you tell bad jokes, you get shot dead, and then the next guy comes up to tell jokes, and he has to push the body off the stage. So, and of course, it's the Joker, looking for laughs or whatever. I just really like the way it was told. I don't know. It was just kind of cool. This kind of, we find out that the detectives have been using the Riddler. They'll like come in and have him solve the crimes for them. Because the Riddler can see all the patterns, right, kind of thing. So. But they give him this one, and he kind of freaks out about it, and butchers the detective, while they're in the room talking to him. He ends up busting out of prison, and we get this basic confrontation between Joker and the Riddler, where they both want Batman dead. They can't stand the idea of the other one killing off Batman. So Riddler, being the saner of the two, goes, "Hey, I've got the perfect answer for it, though. We can work together and take out Batman together, and then we both get what we want." And Joker's like, "Yeah, that sounds cool. Or I can get a laugh and shoot you," which he does. He gut shots Riddler towards the end of this thing, and Riddler's left for dead, and there's bombs that Batman has to deactivate, and Riddler or Joker gets away. But there's more to it than that. There's some great writing there about the fact that the Joker is really upset now because he used to get the last laugh. Now he doesn't get it anymore because Batman's always winning all the time. That sucks, you know. So I really enjoyed it. You find out that he's telling the story to Selina because he feels like, for whatever reason, whatever happened in this past, he feels like he needs to tell her about that. Because of course, last issue, you know, was the marriage proposal thing. So I don't know if this is all part of the look. I need to come clean about some of this stuff if we're going forward with our whatever, you know, kind of a thing. If we're getting, I kind of feel like that's kind of what this is. I need to tell you about this about my life, kind of thing. What do you think of it, John?
You know, honestly, I really liked it. So first of all, I got to call out those 2 center panels where it was Knock Knock Who's There with full page spreads of Riddler in the office and then Joker across the office.
Yeah, so this big giant, him standing there, and of course he looks all dapper. You know, this version of the Riddler isn't no, you know, silly, you know, bowler hat wearing, you know, tied up. He's suave looking, you know, and he does the old step in, knock, knock. Yeah, the bat signal's up there. And then the whole other page that is just who's there. And I love this version of the Joker. He's kind of this art version of the Joker. He's kind of see if I can find a good, he's like a mix between all the Jokers we've seen. You know, he's got some elements of Capullo Joker in there. He's got some elements of the classic Joker in it. It just kind of works really well, I think.
Agreed. My other favorite page was actually just towards the end here, depicting just kind of the mayhem of the War of the Jokes with all the villains at odds. I love the Rogues Gallery from Batman, so this totally jumped out at me, and I was like, yes. So I'm and I'm
kind of surprised because I was kind of like, okay, you know, anything with a Joker, I'm just kind of totally smoked down the Joker because it felt like Snyder's whole, you know, 50 some odd issues has just been so Joker centric that I just kind of felt like, oh, something else. But I'm really digging this. I love this early look at these characters and whatnot. So I'm all for having some good Riddler stories. So I was excited about that. So yeah, I'm really liking this. So this setup was really great.
Really we'll see it. We'll see how the rest of the art goes, but I'm really excited about it as well. Yeah.
See, there's both the Riddler and the Joker. And I just love this version, especially he's all pissed off. Because he is not happy. You know, he's not the giggly, laughy laugh, you know, because he is not finding anything funny right now, which is really upsetting him. But I don't know. I just like the kind of slickster Joker, too. So, yeah.
I will say my final observation is on the last page. It looks like Bruce wants to go punch some bears in the face. I'm just putting that out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's definitely dressed to be punching some bears. That's a word. If you've been watching the show.
Shout out to Flapjacks. All right.
Yes. Yes.
So, do you think they're not going to touch
fun? Which, in a way, is kind of fun that Bruce is the beefcake, right? Is the cheesecake in this, right? And not really Selina, because I mean, most of the time we get, you know, Catwoman draped over the rooftops of diamonds pouring over her chest and whatnot, and that's not the case. I mean, she's there, she's in a nightie, but she does not come across as the beefcake.
Yeah. Are they not going to touch the Selina thing, do you think, until after this arc?
I would guess not. I mean, he's telling this story. I mean, he's seemingly coming clean about something. That's the impression I got. That he feels the need to tell her about this. So we're not going to get that until sometime in the future, which would be my guess. They're going to push that down the road a ways. So
yeah,
I don't know how many parts this is. Love the first part of it though.
Yeah. Hey, really quick here on the comments section, I saw from Ryan C. A big concern with the new Batman storyline, more flashback storytelling. The new or the year one period for all it's worth. So that's kind of interesting perspective.
Yeah, from a bitter comic book fan perspective, Ryan. But I mean, yeah, I guess it does. I'm trying to remember what I mean. So did year one do a lot about there being a Joker and Riddler war? I don't remember. It's probably been 20 years since I read that. So
that's a good question.
I mean, so I'm not, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, there is something unfortunate about, in some ways, of they don't tell stories. It's amazing. Okay, let me spit this out right, get straight in my head. It's amazing how much story they don't advance Batman forward. They spend so much time talking about what he did as opposed to what he's doing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I can see where Ryan's coming from on this too, because like a lot of it was like, you know, here's stuff that's not happening right now, and we're gonna soak up a whole story arc about it.
Right.
I completely agree. I think that the Batman U is robust enough that we should be able to just move forward with it. I don't know. So I
Right.
completely agree. I think that there's a lot of cool content out there.
right. And
Yeah.
he's saying that. He's just saying that he just means that ancient Batman history, that half of Snyder's run was set in the past, which is true. We do spend a modern era Batman seems to spend a lot of time in the past. It does seem to be that way. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is. Is that because it's easier for the writers to tell stories about something that happened in the past than it is to try and advance the character, because editorial won't let them change the character? So you can't advance him? I mean, really, him proposing to Catwoman is bold if they go through with it, which I don't believe they will, because I think that's too big of a step for Batman. Because I think Batman, because of his stature as a moneymaker in other ways outside of comics, you know, the character is just going to stay static in some sense. There's just, you know, as much as they toy with, oh no, he's not, you know, Batman's, you know, Dick Grayson for a year or whatever, you know, it didn't last. You knew it wasn't going to last because it's just not going to last, kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean, I it's curious as to why they're choosing to do that. I mean, I don't know, as creators.
Yeah. He's got bears to punch, so I mean, I don't think so either. I think he's got
exactly.
commitments.
And I guess he looks better younger punching bears than older punching bears, right? So
Yeah.
so we spent time in the past.
None of that Batman Beyond punching bears. We don't do that. No. No, Bruce. No.
Yeah.
Rez was like, "You're taking this book way off the rails."
But anyway, I really enjoyed the story, so I guess I don't care that they're mining the past instead of moving the character forward. So
yeah.
Speaking of more Batman, is anybody reading All Star?
Yes.
Me.
Yes.
I'm glad that dropped off that book. Is it still maintaining?
Well, this arc right now is the first Ally arc, and so it's quasi Alfred centric. So I dig that. I mean, Alfred's like one of the best characters in the DC universe. Yeah. So I like that. I like getting the Alfred past, you know, kind of things. I'm enjoying that. You know, seeing his bitterness at the fact that, of course, his father was a butler for the Waynes also. So his father was never really around. You know, so we kind of get to see him kind of become the angry youth and join the military and shoot lots of people and do lots of black ops kind of stuff, and then end up in MI5 and in the Secret Service for the British Empire and that sort of stuff and whatnot. So that's all. I like all those aspects of it. You know, we got this kind of curious story that's kind of the window dressing around it of Batman having gone down to Florida to try and pick something up. Everybody thinks that he's Hush, which is hilarious. I mean, the villains that save him, he gets saved in this issue by Penguin, the Whale, and
Black Mask.
And as they save him, they're like, Elliot, because they think he's Hush. Elliot, you try to be Bruce Wayne, but you got it all wrong. You don't have his jaw. And they're like, yeah, his jaw. And of course, it's Bruce. It's really Bruce. He's just like, what? But anyway, they save him. They point out this other place that he can go to get this device that they're trying to get, that they want to make sure no one else has, because it's just going to be dangerous if Tiger Shark has it or whatever. And he's all like, as he's diving off over to get away from them and go take care of get the device. He's like, by the way, my Bruce Wayne is perfect, as he's bailing up. I just thought it was that part of it was funny too. I don't know. I'm enjoying this largely because, like I said, it's Alfred centric, so I'm digging that. So,
is there a backup story still in that? Yes,
the backup story is Bruce. He is in Russia. He has infiltrated one of the Russian mafia families. Because they're the ones that are running the guns, the massive guns into Gotham. So he's trying to nip it off at the source. He has gone in as, his name is like something One Punch or something like that. It's like Matches Malone, except for this is a Russian guy who's notorious for being able to just knock people out with a single punch, kind of a thing. And he And he does that. I mean, they make him prove it by sending a whole bunch of guys at him, so he has to like sit there and try and knock all these people out. He's hooked up with the lead mafia don's daughter, and she's like this psycho killer. So they're breaking into this place from another mafia family to steal this painting to give to her father as a birthday present. He's trying to knock everybody out, and of course she's trying to kill everybody, because in Russia you don't just knock them out, you kill them. That's the appropriate thing to do. So yeah, it's not super great. It's written by Albuquerque, who does the art in the main story. He's the writer for that, along with another person. It's good. I'm enjoying it. You know, maybe not as good as dialogue as some of the other stuff, but still enjoyable. I missed anything with that, John?
You know, honestly, that is that. I think that for me, I went with a colorful cover.
Oh yeah, that is a good cover.
I thought it was just popping. It was fun. I like the history behind it with Alfred as well. I think Alfred's actually a really compelling character. So for me, it's really exciting to get some of that history. But that also brings us back to Ryan's comment about all that history. Batman is bringing us to school. So yeah. I don't know. I completely agree with where Ryan's coming from there, because a lot of it is definitely just some of that past storytelling there. And I think there is opportunity to kick us forward to the future without running into that Batman Beyond timeline, because that was some fun.
Right. Or walking around in a robot, bunny suit. Also. See what happens when they go to the future?
Yeah. Yep.
They tell a current story. I'm okay with them being in the past if we're going to get more of that. So, alrighty. What else? What else we got? Rez, did you read any DC books this week?
The Wildstorm. DC Wildstorm.
Wildstorm. Sweet.
Yeah, I really like this issue. We see Angela Spica. We see her talk with that what is that? The woman's name? The Jessica Nova. The what is she?
Russian cosmonaut.
The cosmonaut that can, I don't know. I think she can not just jump places but time and reality too. But
yeah, we see her. We see more from that one agent we saw in the very first issue when she was
Voodoo.
Yeah, Voodoo. We see Voodoo. We see her talking to this monster alien of some sort that apparently watches.
Oh no, you're talking about the person who does the cleanup work. I'm sorry, the person on the cover.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, her. Yeah, we see her talking to that monster thing. We see that happen. So like it's a little small, but I think very intricate scene. Like I think that's gonna play out a lot more in later issues. Which I mean, I'm really intrigued by these aliens of some sort. They research and study and analyze our society. For I guess maybe they're gonna start a war eventually, but they're telling her to pretty much butt out of this whole Angela Spica thing because if she does interrupt it, then they're gonna do something to her, I guess, or do something to humanity. I don't know. Also, what do we see going on? We see that we find out what happened to that teleporter woman. I mean, she apparently died and was torn apart and then revived by some kind of
entity in the bleed. Yeah,
in the bleed. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like this whole entire concept of the bleed was so interesting to me. Like they thought that they were going to be able to cut into time like a shortcut, but to find out the time is not the bleed was nothing like that. It was actually something that speeds up death or something, or a lot. It just creates death upon impact upon trying to cut through the bleed, and her perishing the way she did, she just got torn to pieces and then got reassembled somehow. Now able to travel in and out of time in multiple ways. And she's telling her story to Angela, and she's like, "Hey, just come on, join the team. We can give you refuge. My boss, he understands people like us." And then in the midst of it, she's still being tracked down by this one head of this guy. He's telling the guy who has a tumor, hey, I want you to track her down and kill her. The guy starts doing research on her on the dossier that they put together. He's realizing that she's just a scared girl. She doesn't want, like, she wasn't trying to like purposely steal this technology. She wanted to build something really nice for medical rescue or something like that. And then she wanted to put into play, and they wouldn't pay any attention to her. She had to go to him and talk to him about it, and he just wants her dead now. He has no real reason for the simple fact that he doesn't want unwanted attention on his organization, and now he wants her dead. He doesn't care about the ramifications. He doesn't care if she's a good person or a bad person. He just wants her dead, and he wants someone to do it. So the guy with the tumor, he quits, and the guy brushes him off, and then he starts getting recruited by another organization, the one that we saw where that guy, where he had his building and the dome of his building open up to the sky, the really old cranky man. That his secretary, I think she was the one trying to recruit the guy with the tumor. So we see that happen. And right as he's about to get recruited, then his boss comes at his door and says, "Hey, we dropped your things off." So I don't know if there's gonna be some kind of conflict or something from that, but I'm really curious on how this is gonna play out.
Yeah, Jockio says this is Boyd. Character's name.
Boyd. Is it really? It shouldn't look like a Boyd.
Boyd with a V.
What? Void.
With a V, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Mike, what you think?
I think it continues to give us just enough information without, it looks like it's going to be perfectly paced. I still have questions. I'm still getting enough answers. I'm still staying very interested. And I think it's just great, and especially because Jonathan Davis Hunt, if he can keep on the art and be consistent, that's going to be even more amazing. And I do worry if we hit an issue or two without him, how I start to feel, because we mentioned in Clean Room, when you go off of him, then you start questioning who everybody is. And
Yeah, I really like the issue too. Every issue I like better than the issue before it, because like you said, it kind of answers some questions, fills in some stuff, but also the picture just keeps getting bigger and bigger too. It's kind of like that last issue where we had them in the room, and then the next panel it just keeps backing up, and we see this bigger ship kind of a thing. Because of course with the demon, we get yet new players in the game, right? That we haven't really known about up until this point. I'm assuming we get this one odd page in this issue that is like the record advertisement for Voodoo. We get this one, and we know she had mentioned aliens and whatnot. We really haven't addressed this character at all. Clearly she got an alien arm at one point. So what's up with that? We haven't addressed that, but so she maybe is going to be the link between that. So after reading this issue, I'm like thinking, okay, so how many players are there in this? We got the Io, who is where our girl with the mechanized suit comes from, and they want her dead. They work on Earth. They've got this contract with Skywatch, who control everything that's in the universe around the Earth, and they got this agreement that they won't expose anything or show off anything or all that. So there's this whole chaos going on with this rogue girl exposes Io, so Io needs to take them out. So we have those two actors. We've got this aliens in here, or another group that's got some sort of investment in it. And then we've got I'm assuming they're the wild. I don't know if they're called the wild, would technically be called the Wildcats or whatever or not. I'm not sure, because I don't understand the prior history of how the book worked. But that whole group, it's the group that's wanting the sanctuary. The guy that has Grifter in it and whatnot, that are trying to convince this girl with the suit to go with them. They're kind of, and the old guy who owns Halo. So we've got 4 or 5 groups, all kind of. There's like this balancing act between all the groups, and with this girl flying through the middle of it, she has tipped the scales all kinds of crazy directions. And so now it sounds like there's gonna be a bunch of power playing going on, which excites me to see that kind of machinations of how these different groups try to work each other with the agreements they have, and everything is really, really intriguing. So anything anybody else want to say about that? Do we remember at what point does the next Wildstorm book come out? Is it at issue 12, or do we go the full 24? I can't remember, because when this book first came out, they had these interviews with Warren Ellis, and he was saying there's going to be more, he's doing the whole Wildstorm imprint, but he's the curator, like Gerard Way is the curator of the Young Animal stuff. but that they're not releasing the next book until this one's X deep. And I was just kind of curious as to how deep is that going to be. So, yeah, curious to see when that's going to happen, because I'll be getting it too, because I'm excited to have another book that maybe is going to fill in more of this stuff too. So next summer, Ryan C is saying next summer. So that must mean around what, issue 16 to 18, somewhere in there, 3/4 of the way in. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That seems about right. Yeah. Maybe.
Okay. Any other books we want to talk about?
No.
Cape Carson, right?
What's that? Cape Carson has a cybernetic eye.
Yeah.
Of course, right now he doesn't. He's got an eye patch instead.
I know, right? his cybernetic eye has abandoned him. Poor Cave.
Yeah.
This issue had a lot going on. I found myself a little confused.
Yeah.
Because there's so much. It's like sometimes this book is so action heavy that I just find myself reading the words and then just hoping I can process the actual art later. And not that I don't like the art. I love the art. I've grown to love it even more.
God. Mad Dog chops the guy's head off.
Oh yeah, that was the best part in there. I was about to tell you to show my favorite part. And actually, it's 2 favorite parts. That one's my second favorite. Tell me which one you think my first favorite is.
Is it the one where she reaches into the guy's head?
No.
Throws the brain?
No, the proposal. The proposal part. You remember the proposal?
Oh, I don't remember which part that was.
The last few pages where the thing goes over their eyes.
Let me get to it.
You guys.
Oh yes, the whole. Is it this one?
Yeah.
Yes, our wonderful alien race here, which whatever. Clearly they have some interesting attributes.
It was so funny.
And what's crazy is this whole nutsy thing, this whole scene here, which is an alien, which they're speaking a language we don't understand. It's the typical guy proposing to the girl. Things go crazy. This something jets out of this ring and splaps on her face and makes her go nuts. And she grabs hold of the guy's head and ends up, cranking off her fiance's head. Actually, snaps his neck and whatnot. But because they're in the ring. I mean, this entire universe is inside this ring of these aliens with their phallic symbols. It was crazy. I mean, Rez is right in the fact last issue was great because it was really fun and dynamic. This issue was confusing as all get out because they're hopping around dimensions so much. You're just not 100% sure who we're actually really talking to. Are these the people from our original reality hopping through dimensions because they've picked up some people who are from other dimensions along with them? It's not 100% clear. They're fighting the giant brain thing that's come out of the ground, but they've been fighting this whole time. Basically, this issue felt very scattered.
About the mother thing too. Can you tell me? Because I'm confused on did I miss a part or issue or something? Because they were referring to her mother and
right, because the daughter's suggesting we should go find my mom in this dimension. We found your old college professor who's long since dead. And he's tagging along with us now, so why don't we go get mom? And he's saying, oh, we shouldn't do that because this mom may not love you, because this mom may not even have a kid. This mom may not. Basically, I think it really comes down to, he personally does not want to deal with another version of his wife because he can't handle it. Because his wife dying messed him up so bad, he doesn't want to have to deal with that again, I think. But that's what she was suggesting. And it was kind of a bolt out of the blue story moment for it to pop up.
Okay.
But it makes sense, though, that they would address it at some point because they are hopping from dimension to dimension, and they have picked up other people who are dead. What started them on this whole cascade is mom being dead in the first place. So why wouldn't you go find her if you could, kind of a thing. So yeah. I still like the comic. Really loved last issue. This issue was a bit confusing. Still like the art. The combat stuff was pretty awesome. Like I said, the whole Mad Dog thing is pretty great because he cleaves the top of that guy's head off one of the other guys that's fighting with Mad Dog actually reaches in, pulls the guy's brain out, and throws it and smacks at another guy in the side of the face with him long enough to distract him so that guy can get shot too. It was gory but fun.
And did you see how the knife went through a little bit of Mad Dog's head?
Yes. It hangs up in his hockey mask, but it's actually pierced his head too. So
yeah, I was like, oh my god, poor Mad Dog. I wonder how they're gonna play that out if he ever appears in another DC book.
I doubt he gets used anywhere else.
Yeah, it was just a hope. I like his character a lot.
Yeah, he's kind of fun, for sure. Alrighty, any other books we want to talk about?
That's all I got.
Are we done with DC for the night? Okay.
Yep.
DC news? No.
The director for the Han Solo movie may jump over to the Flash movie. So
the one that quit, or Ron Howard?
The two guys. There were two brothers that were going to do it, and it looks like they're going to go over maybe to the Flash.
Oh, okay.
So not Ron Howard, but the other ones.
Okay,
yeah.
I was confused. I mean, I've been keeping close track of the whole what's going on with the Star Wars movies and whatnot, but I knew there was directors leaving. So those directors may be going to the Flash, huh? Because they didn't have a director for the Flash yet?
Yeah, they keep flipping through, and it's a lot of this. I think it just comes down to it is tough to work for these major corporations where you want to try and get an idea out, and they're like, well, it will be you, but there will be 3 other people helping you.
Yeah, it's tough to get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to play in a giant sandbox like DC. I tell you, that's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, try me. That's all I'm asking.
All right.
So
I'll put your name out there next time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Next time they're going, dang, they don't have a director. You just let me know. Maybe not the Flash though. I don't know. I don't think I would do good on the Flash. So
first thing you do, remove the Flash. Put it.
Exactly. Right. So yeah. Alrighty. So we're gonna head on to Marvel then.
Sure.
Marvel Town.
I have one Marvel book this week. I'm going to talk about it really briefly, really quickly. Doctor Strange, issue number 22. You can see the funky star up there, and you all know what that means. It's a event tie-in. Basically continues on with the story from last issue in that Doctor Strange, Spider-Woman, Ben Urich, and now the Kingpin are all stuck under the Black Dome that's over Manhattan or whatever. The Sanctum is up in a skyscraper as opposed to being where it's supposed to be at. They're trying to get into that. The Kingpin has rescued them from this giant monster thing, and they're like, oh, Doctor Strange's like, last person I really want to trust is, it's Fisk, but we're kind of in a bad point here. So if he's got some way to help us. And Fisk is like, look, I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm just a businessman. This is currently bad business. You help me, I help you. Business. Yay. I guess he's got this giant stockpile of black magic weapons hidden away. Let's go get those stockpile of weapons, and then we can, break this bubble and save the world, whatever. I'm reading along just fine through the book. And because it's clearly tied into the whole black bubble, I guess, that's over Manhattan. That's in the regular storyline. I remember from you saying a little bit. And then all of a sudden we flip to Mondo. Is that his name? The guy that's always trying to be the Sorcerer Supreme. He's on some magical vid phone call to Captain America and some other Hail Hydra people. And they're like, you could beat them up, but don't kill Doctor Strange. We might need him for something or whatever. And at that point, in reading it, I just kind of go, because I don't want to read a book that's tied to the event. I'm kind of irritated that the book is tied into the event. And I was irritated before I picked the book up because, of course, I ordered my comics this week, and I'm ordering books that are coming out in August. And this book is still tied in to Secret Empire. So it's going to be like 4 or 5 issues tied into Secret Empire. So I'm dropping the book. So after that phone call, I just kind of read the rest of it, looked at some pretty pictures. And at the end of it, I know that Doctor Strange going, no, don't touch that stuff. It's evil, to all the magic weapons. And they're all going, like if you are familiar with Time Bandits, when mom and dad at the very end of the movie touch the thing inside, touch the glob of evil inside the microwave and get blown up. That's kind of what it felt like. So I just am frustrated. I think I like the writing, other than I don't want it tied into the event. People have told me, "Oh, shut up, Travis. It's not really that tied in." Kind of feels to me like it is. And I like the new artist. The new artist is cool on the book. So this would be a new creative team with, Jason, Aaron and oh, what's the guy's name? Bacheletto getting off the book. I would be okay. But why did it have to be? Why did it have to be this? I don't know. Just frustrating. Anyway, John Kyo is saying he really liked the first 2 issues of this creative team. Art is very cool. So, like I said, for me, it's just I don't want that banner on there. So,
Just gonna have to go to your shop every week and see if it gets better, or every month.
I guess that's what I'll do. Walk in and read it off the shelf or something. I don't know.
Yep.
All right, that's my Marvel book. What do you guys got?
I will go next. I got Nick Fury #3, another ACO book. He's just kicking these out. I'm enjoying them. This is, when I thought about it, it is the James Bond of like Roger Moore times. Everything was a little too big, a little too much, a little too pop. And that's what this is. And I love it for that reason. It hits every cliche too. So this is the somebody on the train is going to die, and the hero, Nick Fury, has to stop him. So, of course, they're going to get on top of the train and fight, and they're going to have to go through a tunnel. They're going to have to, figure out who the secret or hidden assassin is, because it's not just one, not just two. There's 3 assassins. There's got to be the beautiful girl that tells the hero right away that, I don't care for you, and then at the end falls for him. So it's not the great storyline. Robinson, I'm just thinking, says, I'll give you the most money, ACO, if you just keep this book getting printed. And it is just beautiful, exciting colors, and his little boxes and everything. So that's why I'm reading it. As soon as ACO is off of it, I'm done. I'm not going to pick up that issue, because it is always about too much color, too much excitement.
I went to the new comic book store. Yep. And I was gonna pick those up. They didn't have #1, so I left them there. But if they would have had #1, I would have picked them up just for the art. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. John, what you got?
Ooh, I didn't pick up any Marvel this week.
Yes!
I'm totally kidding. I picked up Marvel. You guys, come on.
I got excited for a second. I thought somebody had less Marvel than me. Go.
No,
I couldn't even remember it. I sat next to him when we filmed it.
I know.
I have 3 books. First of all, you guys, X-Men Gold, not controversial anymore. No more global politics happening here, but still an awesome. It's a fun ride. So we're talking X-Men Gold issue 6, you guys. On the cover, depicting the evolution of the Sentinel, going from the basic Sentinel model all the way down to the newest one. You got Nimrod in the middle, and then, of course, the Sentinels from Operation Zero Tolerance from the 90s when I first started reading. So, man, what a treat. Such a geek moment. Love it. A fun moment in here is actually for Rachel, who is now going by the codename Prestige. So she's switched up her costume, adopted a new moniker, kind of trying to step out of the Jean Grey Cyclops spotlight. But it alluded to how she used to be a hound in Age of Apocalypse, hunting down mutants, which I thought was so awesome. My mind was like, hello, 90s, that's amazing. So I love the nods to previous literature in a consistent manner like this. Issue 6, you guys, if you're not reading it right now, X-Men Gold, that's only 6 issues. Check it out if you're not. It is so much fun, and this is one of 3 titles that's made me a believer in the X-Men side of the universe again. I've been sleeping on it for about 1.5 years or so, and I used to love all the X titles back in the day, so this has been looping me back in with intelligent nods to previous literature while pushing the line forward. So it doesn't have that Batman swagger of putting us in history class necessarily. And I think that it is a progressive book, and that's what really excites me about it. So I don't know, X-Wing Gold, baby.
And that's a Cullen Bunn written book, right? He writes both the gold and blue, does he?
Nope. So this one actually is a separate creative team, and I am horrible at creatives, but this is Mark Guggenheim.
Oh, okay.
For the writer,
right,
yep. Right. So loving it.
It's fun when it gives those winks for the continuity people. It's fun when it gives those winks and nods to the old stuff.
I'm such a geek for that. Seriously, I went on this rant, by the way. If you haven't seen Sergeant America's video, I went on this rant about Shi'ar deity genders because I read this thing from 2000 where they said all Shi'ar Empire deities were female, and then in the Thor stuff, they just had a god that was, I'm pretty sure was a dude, and I'm like, how am I supposed to worship an alien race if you guys can't even get your story straight? Like, what's the deal? Exactly. So I totally called that out in Mike's car. That was pretty funny. Yeah. So anyways, that's my tidbit for you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Mike, you got more than that. Come on.
Yeah, I also picked up, as John can now contest to, because you picked this one up too.
The same cover, we didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
if we did, we would have gotten different covers. Yeah.
This is an interesting issue. It continues the war. I mean, since Jason Aaron's restarted this one, this is issue number 20. So since he restarted it one again, there's the War of the Realms. Malekith has decided that he is, getting the Frost Giants, all the bad guys together. They're going to kill the Gold Elves, everybody they can that's on the side of Asgard. So it ends up that they invade the Dwarven realm, where we have the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent and Thor's former girlfriend, Rosalind, is there. It also has a gold elf who is part of the council, and we have big old
Volstagg.
Thank you, Volstagg. Volstagg the Voluptuous is there, and they're representing. So as they get attacked, it's raining fire. Volstagg grabs up the children because they are starving, and of course Volstagg has this huge bag of food, and they're like, "Are you going to eat that food?" And he goes, "Well, I was, but," and he gives the food to them, and he's letting them know, I have kids. I have I think I have 12. No, wait, this week 13. I have 13 kids. My wife will cook pies for you and tell you stories, and this is all great. So they're getting attacked. He grabs the children. They're running through. Or I shouldn't say children. I should say plot device. Yeah. So he has the plot devices. Jeez. And they're being rained upon, and of course the elf dies because it's all his people that are there, and then Volstagg rescues the children. Plot devices. Everything is looking great. It cuts to Dodderman art because this isn't all Dodderman art. There's another artist who does part of it, and then when you get to the Jane Foster Odinson part, Jane has kind of come clean. She let Odinson know, yeah, I'm the other Thor, and I knew you'd react this way. You're pissy, and you got your mean dog, and she says, I don't know, because she doesn't have the hammer. She's just Jane, and she says, I don't know if the next time I pick up the hammer, if I ever change back, because I'm dying, and the cancer's killing me. And every time I pick it up, of course, it resets all of my body back to full cancer. So he's like, well, you do what you got to do. And she goes, that's the attitude I expected, and that's why I didn't tell you about any of this. So it's really great because she's like,
calling him on his shit. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, why don't you pick up the hammer? And he's like, it's not for me right now. They're standing on the old Asgard, so there's also the ultimate hammer. It ends up that they hear an explosion. They got to figure out what's going on. They leave that old Asgard. The dwarves, of course, are trying to find out who's still alive. And, of course, the children are still there, and it's great. So Volstagg has the children, and all of a sudden a goblin who throws fireballs, but not that one, John's favorite. It's not the green goblin. It's just a true goblin. And he throws these basic napalm bombs. They burn everything. God, material, metal, everything, except for this goblin's blood. So as all these pumpkin bombs or whatever you want to call them are exploding, when it comes back to the page, you see Volstagg is covered in the goblin's blood, but the children are not. All the children have died. I'm sorry, all the plot devices have been destroyed. But it's good in a way. I mean, because they could have made it happy slappy forever. I understand this is the other way of using it. So he is distraught. I mean, he's just messed up in the head, and he kind of wanders off, and they're trying to find him. He gets through a portal, and of course, he gets onto Old Asgard. There lies the weapon. Molinar from the Ultimate Universe. He picks it up and shouting, "I have the power!" He becomes the third Thor, the War Thor that we see on the cover. So I did like it for some pieces. I do like that they didn't make it a happy ending. I mean, they are really building up this war. I mean, it is one tragedy after another. So, John, you want to argue on me on this?
Oh, well, I just got to recognize, Dodderman's artwork, keeping it cosmic on page 9. I mean, just gorgeous art. I mean, Mike sold me on this book a couple issues back when this year Empire was starting to come into it. And Mike was like, dude, this artist, you'll love it. I love cosmic art. And I'm a little frightened because I heard through the grapevine that Dodderman's leaving this book coming up. Is that correct? So, yeah. I will also be leaving this book, unfortunately. Yep. I love everything about it, but it was because of the art and the appeal of the Marvel Cosmic aspect of it. But if we're losing that, then unfortunately I'm going to be falling off of it just because we pick up so many books a week. So, yeah.
And I might be too. I mean, once again, I don't know that I want to pay $4 for a book that basically dissolves in my hands.
Right.
And that was my big tweet for the day too, is #Marvel, you want to change the world? Let's start by making better covers. So.
Cardstock, baby. Dude, take notes from Batman All-Star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
People in the comments keep telling me, not today, but people in the comments keep telling me there are Marvel books that are the harder stock, but I don't know what books those are.
Yeah, I don't know either, actually.
I mean, because is the event books aren't the hardest stock, are they?
Some of them are. It's hit and miss. I mean,
okay.
Well,
maybe the main one is, but I think it's also then an additional $1. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other Marvel books?
Yes. So since Darth Vader issue 1 was such a train crash for me, which I can't even begin to rant about that on the show, so I won't. Darth Maul, in contrast, issue 4, of course, redeems the Sith flag and banner for me and the Star Wars Marvel imprint. So thank you, Darth Maul, again for saving the day. It's a fun tale. We're on issue 4 right now. It's not going to be an ongoing. It never is. But such a vengeful character. So a lot of things are going on. They wanted a Jedi Padawan. He wants to fight her in combat, essentially, and kill her because he's a Sith. And it's so fun just to see that happening. Darth Maul, I think, totally got shortchanged on the big screen. Absolutely. Episode 1 gets cut in half. I'm like, really, bro? Additional content was in the Clone Wars, I want to say, like one of those cartoons, which was really cool to see, and I enjoyed that. But it's a real treat for me to get to read some of this stuff, and they actually do a really good job with it. So the fact that Darth Maul outshines Darth Vader blows my mind, but it was all the creative team behind it. It totally was. Darth Vader issue 1 was not good. So I didn't even check out issue 2. But yeah, shout out to Darth Maul, dude. It's a blast. If you're not reading it, more opportunity to check it out. A lot of goodness going on there. Bounty hunters, Jedi fighting, you get it all. So it's fun.
Is there a backup story in that one too?
In this one, they actually do not, which I kind of dig because I'm not paying for it. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't pick up number 1. It had that awful backup story.
Yep. Nope. Not in this one. So.
Nice.
And that is
Alrighty.
my Marvel haul.
So that is it for Marvel books to talk this week.
Yeah.
Got any Marvel news you want to talk about?
Well, the big announcement, of course.
Oh, well, it's okay. Right, the
Industry
legacy.
changing. Yes.
That's what burns me. So we have this whole big hype up that it's going to be industry changing. Not just that they're going to change Marvel. They're going to change the industry.
Yeah.
And what do we get over Friday? Because I kept like looking at news sites and looking at Twitter going, and I mean, it's like, I don't know, 1:30 my house, which means it's like 4:30 on the East Coast, which is where Marvel's at. And I'm thinking, they haven't announced anything yet. What the hell? Well, they've been announcing all day long, right? They've been announcing covers.
Yeah.
Ooh, look, homage covers, right? They're all homage covers.
Yeah.
Homage covers is what's going to change the industry? for what? The worst?
Yes. One of the worst.
So we end up, right? We end up with 52 issues. We get 52 issues. So we at least know not who's on any of those books, but we know what the books are going to be, right?
Yeah.
So no Hulk book. There's a She-Hulk book. She's not Hulk anymore. It sounds like it's back to She-Hulk. I was kind of looking to see what else of mine that I'm reading changed. I think Hawkeye's still there. But this whole legacy thing is it a farce? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get what's supposed to be the big deal about.
I think I saw they're saying the numbers going back to the old numbers is supposed to be a big deal.
Which books are going back to the old numbers?
I think the Hulk or the like the Captain America. I'd have to look again, but I think
there's so many books there, but there's so many books there that still aren't even the same. They aren't they're titled different. How do they go back to the old numbers? X-Men can't go back to the numbers. Or are we getting rid of Blue and Gold and it's just gonna be one X-Men title? I didn't look at that. John, do you have any idea? Because I know you love it when they keep changing the numbers on you.
I got nothing. Because this Venom thing, for instance, I'm a sore sport right now.
Yeah.
I'm a sore because it goes from like issue 6 to 150 to 151. And then don't get me going about all those back issues. They did like 4 to 6 issue runs. And then all of a sudden they reveal in issue 150, by the way, those all constitute issue 150. So all my stuff's alphabetized.
Right.
So I literally just said, well, that's fun. And I just left it as it is. It's a collector's worst nightmare.
Yeah. For cataloging purposes and whatnot, it's
yeah. So thank God for Books. Yeah.
And if you're trying to get those issues in order or something, yeah, who knows, right?
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I don't understand the huge buildup and then to do so little. I mean, they're right. So isn't there like a legacy book coming out that's kind of like, I really don't want to compare DC and Marvel. I know everybody does. We all do it, but I don't really. But I'm going to use an example, just the fact that, of course, DC did a big fat book, their Rebirth book for what $2.99, whatever it was. It was like 80 pages or whatever. So Marvel's doing equivalent of that, right? They're doing a legacy book, and the legacy book is like what $7 or something like that for 60 pages.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, if you're a big Marvel fan, I'm assuming you're going to get that. I'm not getting it. I mean, it would be the kind of thing that I would have gotten if I thought it was going to be something like what DC was doing. Not, like I said, not to compare the two, but if I felt like it was going to let me understand the universe in some kind of grander scheme as to this is how the universe has changed after Secret Empire or whatever the thing is that's changing stuff. But it doesn't sound to me like anything's changing other than the window dressing is changing. And Falcon is no longer has creme de creme status. He has been now demoted back to being the Falcon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't we consider that a demotion? I mean, Captain America is the big name. Falcon's the sidekick. I mean, he's gone back to being the sidekick? He's probably relieved, quite frankly, but it is a demotion, isn't it? I mean, to me, I see it as a demotion. I don't know.
Well, when you look at the Captain America name, though, is it right now?
Well, right. I know. I hear you.
The Hydra lenses.
So he's the honest Captain America versus the other one. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. To me, it just seems. I mean, I would initially, they mentioned the legacy thing. I'm a bit nervous, but I'm thinking, okay, this might be an opportunity for me to, get a bigger foothold in what Marvel's producing. I'd like to get some of that back of my youth, but nothing about this makes me want to do that. It just soured the whole thing more for me because of the whole industry changing thing. And don't get me wrong, I think homage covers are fun. I love picking up a cover going, oh, look, this is the cover of, X-Men whatever, where they, are standing in front of the wanted poster. When they redo that, I'm amused by that when artists do that. But the whole line is that way, and that's supposed to blow our mind.
To see them try and kick it off too, because I mean, will they be able to do a full launch, or will they go, and here it is, oh, by the way, we're still not done with our event, so here's 2 or 3 more books that are still coming out.
Well, right, and as Ryan C. is pointing out, one of the big problems with Legacy is they're not doing a cheap price point for the first books. You can pretty much, it's going to be more expensive for the first books. 50 pages for $6.
They want you to pay for the new overhaul. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But nothing there looks like anything's changed. To some degree, it's the same titles, just continuing, except they're tweaking the name of them a little bit and possibly changing the numbers to either higher numbers or new number ones or I don't know what.
Well, unless they start changing these characters to be more grounded and more relatable, I don't think anybody's really going to care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some people are, but my thing is I'm trying to look at this as, okay, so if I'm a big, huge Marvel fan, I've been buying lots of Marvel stuff and whatnot, which I'm way out of the loop of buying lots. I mean, that was me in the 80s. I bought a ton of stuff in the 80s. Is this announcement, does it have the right kind of things in it to make the old fan who maybe is that supposed fan who's bent out of shape over the SGW stuff and feminist semi-comics and those people that are ranting about all that crap, does this tantalize them? Does this make them go, oh yes, it's giving me back my comics, my Marvel's coming back?
I hope not.
Is it even doing that?
We don't need any more of that.
I mean, do you think it is, guys? I don't. I
I don't know. I don't think I want to go back to reading Odinson, Fighting Dad, Arguing with Brother. I don't think I want to go back to those books.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's when I think about what I'm buying the fringe edge of books that I know are going to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Thor's my big one right now. And no, I mean, I'm way happier with the Fury, and even that I don't care about the character; it's the art. So I could see I could jump from a lot of them. I'm not picking up number ones. I wanted to do the New Inhuman that was jumping from body to body, but I didn't want to pay outrageous prices.
Mosaic, yeah,
Mosaic. Thanks.
I picked up for 4 issues. It was pretty decent,
Yeah.
I like Moon Girl better though. I
mean, the only really new book that jumped out at me was the Thing and the Human Torch.
Oh, the
and of course they're using an old title name for the book, right? It's the I can't remember what that's called. I love that old. I love it. I can't remember the name of it, but I loved it as a kid. The old team up book kind of a thing where it was like, wasn't it generally just the Thing most of the time and he was teamed up with somebody else?
Yeah.
I should pop that up so I can read what they all are. But I don't know. It was really weird and disappointing for that to be what it was. And like I said, I would love for somebody to explain the industry changing aspect of it because it doesn't. I mean, I will say this: Moon Girl's still in there. That's great. I don't remember if I saw Squirrel Girl. So there are some books that I thought maybe, because we've been seeing all this stuff come out in the news and they've had some of their talking heads come on and make some really kind of silly statements about they need to get away from diversity. They need to get away from this because it's wrecking their books or whatever, implying some of that sort of crap. Those books are still there. So despite whatever that one guy said, that stuff isn't all gone.
Why?
So
trying to get rid of diversity is ruining our books. What?
That's what one one of their talking heads was saying was that it was
Well, and I think Christina mentioned on Twitter, though, that there's these whole segments that if they break it down and look at it, like the young female readers and some of these younger bound books, I mean, they're reading differently. They're not doing as many floppies. They're getting more of these bound books at
Right.
book fairs and things like that, and that might be the new edge of the industry.
Yeah, the young, yeah, the young reader books, those are definitely becoming a more of a. I'm just gonna look here, see if I can pull
Don't
that up.
just
So,
Google.
so I'm gonna read the titles.
A little blurb, maybe.
So all new Guardians of the Galaxy, all new Wolverine, Amazing Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows, America. See, America's still around. That kind of surprises
I
me.
was about to ask you about that, America, because I know
Yeah.
you talked it.
I ended up dropping it. Yeah. Astonishing X-Men, Avengers, Black Bolt, Black Panther, Cable, Champions, Daredevil, Deadpool, Defenders, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Generation X, Hawkeye, Iceman, Incredible Hulk, Invincible Iron Man, Jean Grey, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Marvel 2-in-1. That's what it was. Mighty Captain Marvel, Mighty Thor, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, Moon Knight. There isn't a Moon Knight title right now, right? So they're bringing them back again.
See,
Yeah, they ended that.
I'm confused. I thought they ended Moon Knight because they
Yeah.
I'm going to pick it back up again.
Okay. So Monsters Unleashed. That surprises me. Ms. Marvel, Old Man Logan, Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, Punisher, Royals, Secret Warriors, She-Hulk, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man, Spirit of Vengeance. That's another new one. It's going to be the Ghost Rider stuff. U.S. Avengers, Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Okay, so it's still there. Venom, Weapon X, X-Men Blue, and X-Men Gold. So your X-Men are still there. That'd be the titles.
What did they get rid of? Is what I'm curious. It's not like everything's still there.
Right.
Some of the fringe
Nothing,
ones.
nothing changed.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
some of the Furies, the Kingpin spin or the Daredevil
Oh,
spin-offs.
but those were miniseries, though.
Electro,
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. I was gonna get those too. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't tell anything. They're gonna end anyways.
So I don't know. The whole thing feels weird to me. I'll be curious to see what how it all plays out and whatnot exactly. But this was seriously lackluster. I as far as a industry changing announcement, I don't know. To me, that's a bit embarrassing. I would be embarrassed, if my favorite, comic book people were trying to say that, and that's what they came out with. It'd be wow. Sleep Reader 66, Damien, he's saying MU costs me like $7 a month with a yearly pay. Really doesn't seem like it's incentive not to buy the ridiculously expensive floppies. So we just wait for them to come out in the MU and get them that way, as opposed to buying
That's a better.
the floppies.
That's the best way to do it.
But yeah, I don't know. And their books just keep getting more expensive. I don't know what the incentive is to rush out and buy Marvel if you haven't been. What's to excite readers to buy their books now with this announcement? I don't know. Seems strange. At any rate, any other Marvel news we want to talk about? I see they put out another Defenders poster, right? The official Defenders poster for the TV show. When does that come out? Do we know? Is it August?
August or September, something like that. Yeah.
Kind of looking forward to that. So I've seen lots of people have photoshopped Iron Fist out of the picture. So
have you finished that series? I couldn't finish.
Oh yeah, I finished it.
My oldest, he loves it, but I'm like,
I finished it.
I
Kind of like watching molasses, slowly pour out of a jar. But I did watch it. So.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it, but it's definitely not exciting like the other ones.
Season of Jessica Jones, though. I mean, they're taking their sweet precious time.
Yeah.
It's like
I wonder if they don't know what to do for a second.
Yeah, after the
second series. So, yeah. Alrighty. Anything else we want to talk about? Anything? No. call it a night?
Yep.
We'll do that then. Well, thank you all for tuning in. Those of you that sat here and watched us talk comics. Those of you in the comments, as always, much appreciated. John, Mike, Rez, thank you very much for coming on and talking comics with me.
For having me.
Always enjoy it. I would be talking comics with you even if we weren't broadcasting it live. So feel privileged, all you people out there that get to watch us yak about comics, I guess. At any rate, until next week, have a great one. Hopefully you get some awesome books. If we're totally clueless on this this legacy thing, and I'm being completely sincere, let us know in the comments, especially after we've shut this off, because then the comments are saved. We can actually read them and respond to them after the fact. If you're pumped about the legacy stuff, it's giving you, it's showing you something new, or it's going to do something that makes you want to jump into more Marvel. Let us know, because I'm just curious as to what I'm missing, if that's the case. And I do mean that all sincerely. I'm really curious, because I love my comics. Clearly, I'm a bigger DC fan and whatnot. But I'm always just kind of curious about how the industry moves and shakes and that sort of stuff too, just from purely a curiosity's sake also. So let me know, if nothing else, down in the comments, if you watch this and you think we're nuts as far as that, or I'm nuts. I shouldn't talk for anybody else, but that I'm nuts for thinking that this was a bit of nothing. So, at any rate. Any parting words? Any words of wisdom?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Drink more Ovaltine. Yes. Okay. So we're done for the night. See you next week. Have a great one, everybody.